Welcome everyone to episode 11 of the Greg On and Despot show. Thanks very much for listening.
Howdy.
All right, we're gonna be starting. Well, let me bring my guest in first. How you doing, DarkHour?
How you doing?
Yeah.
America, fuck yeah.
Hell yeah. You know what's nice is, honestly, I feel like Despot could celebrate with us. Basically, hey, Britain, fuck you.
I always say this. Anybody willing to, accept the way of life of America, whether you live here or not, you're American. That's just the way it is. If you just accept that, like, how we are, Have you guys seen the videos of the people touring for the World Cup and being surprised at, like, everything they're encountering? Have you seen those?
Yes.
Like,
yeah,
what
it is hilarious.
The food, they're like, hey, we were always told their food is garbage. And people are like they're having like biscuits and gravy for the first time. They're like, holy shit, this is the most delicious thing I've ever had in my life.
I have to take exception to that. When I went to work in America in a kid's summer camp, they served biscuits and gravy for breakfast, and I thought it was one of the most disgusting things I'd ever eaten.
You have to go to a legit Southern diner. You can't have it at like a summer camp.
We went to a legit diner and it was awesome. It was awesome. Like, I mean, why do you think Americans are so fat? Because the food is so delicious.
It is. You know what? I'll tell you what though. Crap. I experienced something non-American for the first time last weekend. Went to a K barbecue and hot pot joint for the first time. Holy shit. I haven't been able to think about that for the whole week. I want to go back so badly. I've never been to one. It was awesome. Yeah, I don't know if that's like a normal thing in Korea or not, or if that's like a special thing there, but it was outstanding. And I left.
You mean like a barbecue restaurant?
What's that?
Barbecue restaurant where they cut up.
He's talking about like the place where there's a big bowl of soup in the middle. And like you,
there's that's like this place. There was the grill in the middle, the little circular grill in the middle, and then you also had the hot pot next to it too. So it was like a combo thing. I know sometimes those are separate, but this place in St. Louis was both.
Yeah, I think you're referring to Samgyeopsal, which it's great. I haven't been to a Samgyeopsal restaurant in years. I used to go to them quite frequently, but you can't bring kids there.
Yeah,
I could not bring my son there. Like, he's way too hyper, and I could see him just grabbing at the grill or burning his hand in the big hot pot. And it's very like in Korea, it's a lot of them you can get a normal seat and chair, or you can sort of sit down at it, and having a baby near them as well is difficult. So
yeah,
just too difficult to do with
it was just my wife and I, and we talked about like, we could never, this is a fun place, but no, these kids, a boy would just dip his hand in the pot, just who knows, he'd burn the shit out of himself somehow because boys.
even as an adult, you have to take care because it's very, very hot. It's literally a grill. You're eating in front of a big hot grill.
Yeah.
So
it was great amazing though.
But yeah, America, fuck yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right, now we weren't going to start with this topic, but I had to do it, even though it's an absolute carcass at this point, just a dead, beaten horse. Don't care, because Supergirl had a 74% drop in its second weekend. Well, let me share screen here. 2 seconds.
What? No.
You didn't know it was that bad? Oh, sorry.
I thought it was going to be the smash hit of the summer. I thought it was going to be $1 billion movie for sure.
It was a little better than you said. It's 73%.
Yeah. I'll read this for our audience's listening pleasure. Supergirl suffers catastrophic 73% drop, gets obliterated at the box office by patriotic young Washington. Friday grosses plunged 80% in week 2, with domestic totals stalling at $58.4 million against the $275 million cost.
Good God.
That's Fox News, in case you're wondering. Hence the colorful language. I mean, that is... I knew it was going to bomb. I mean, I predicted that it would bomb. Doesn't make me fucking Nostradamus. But
right.
I don't... If you'd asked me, I would have said it's going to do a little bit worse than the Marvels, but this thing is... It could be the biggest superhero box office bomb of all time at this rate.
Greg Gutfeld's face tells the whole story right there on the far right.
It's satisfaction.
He's so excited.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very glad it's done this badly, because I made no secret of the fact that I wanted it to fail. I was not at all objective in it. It looked like shit, and I'm glad it has failed. And yeah, surely that's it for James Gunn. They're going to give him the next Superman movie, and that they're going to say we are very pleased to have worked with James Gunn throughout this period, and are very unhappy to report that he has decided to retire to focus on family. I mean, that's how it's going to go, right?
We're rebooting.
I'm not even sure they're going to give him that
time.
second Superman. I don't think so. I think as soon as the merger is complete, they're just going to clean house. I think they'll just shelve everything and bring it down to the studs, basically.
Yeah, I mean, merger.
Yeah,
the Paramount? Merger. Yeah, the WB Paramount merger, because it's
I'm sorry, I heard the murder, and
the murder has happened already. The murder already exists.
Like, we don't, just to be clear here, we do not officially endorse the murder of James Gunn, but we refuse to condemn the idea. Just to be clear. After Supergirl.
The worst part is, like, he actually seems like a dude who would be fun to be around in person because he's like such a weird guy, but like his vision for movies is horrible. He
doesn't really have any. He's not a visionary. He's a director who can do. He's a one-trick pony director, really. He did make some. I mean, a lot of the internet is pretending he was always shit, and his movies always fucking sucked because the internet does that. But it's the same thing with Nolan. You know, the internet's pretending that he was always an overrated hack. You know, it's not true. Like even with Spielberg with Disclosure Day, the internet loves to do this to sort of retcon people's career. James Gunn, he was a mediocre one-trick pony director who made a couple of very good movies, and that's it. He shouldn't have been anywhere near an executive level. What has happened here is it's a classical example of somebody being promoted to their level of incompetence. He could make a decent sort of superhero pastiche doing his James Gunnisms with the horrible corny needle drops that are very dated now, the wacky sidekicks, the animal creature merchandise character, the sort of the comic, vaguely depressed main character playing off the straight-faced side character. Think Star-Lord and Gamora, the green one. So, you know, he's all very funny and wacky, and she plays it straight. She's the straight man. It's a classic sort of comedy odd couple act, and he did it okay as superhero movies, and that's literally it. That's his trick. Beyond that, no, he has no vision whatsoever.
Well, I think that it's the audience as well. Like, I think that we, the audience, are tired of his brand of irony. Like, that's the thing. In addition to everything you said, he's very meta humor, self-deprecating, lots of irony. Nothing is serious. Hold on just a second, sweetie. So I think the audience is just tired of that. We've been swimming in irony and insincerity for the last 2 decades. And James Gunn is kind of, at the moment, representing that, you know, the MCU style humor and everything. And I don't think that he's really changed. I think that we are all sick of that now. And so it just feels like, oh, he's always sucked, because now we're tired of all of that.
I think he actually even predates a lot of the MCU humor. A lot of his stuff is even like locked in even a few years before Iron Man. It's just that it's that really sophomoric, you know, late 90s, mid 2000s humor that was, you know, just applied to things that he could, for the most part, just, you know, paint over. I think the biggest problem is I do actually appreciate his love for minor, relatively insignificant characters, because I'm like that with comics and stuff too, where I really love obscure characters. Problem is, when you're trying to build a universe, you can't. That's not the part. You need someone that understands the tentpole characters and how they're going to work and how they need to be structured properly, and then you do all that stuff. That's why he came into the MCU at the exact right time. It was already established at its height, and he was able to take basically a blank slate with the Guardians of the Galaxy, which hadn't been around. That particular version of the Guardians hadn't been around that long. They weren't like they're the old Guardians of the Galaxy, the established ones. They relaunched that during the Annihilation storyline. They relaunched that. That was almost brand new, so he could do a lot of stuff he wanted to himself, and I think that's what he excels at.
DarkHour, I have promoted you to the CEO Supreme of Paramount and Warner after the merger. Okay. So they merge. What do you do? And your specific task is to clean up the whole
the DCU. I got it.
Whatever the fuck you want to call it. Basically, your job is to rip off the MCU, but do it successfully. Like, how are you going to do it? And not you personally, but Who do you fire? Who do you hire?
Well, I mean, this is gonna be hard to come up with an answer for this question off the top of my head. I'd really have to like see who. Honestly, the first thing I would do with any comic anything is I'm bringing in actual comic people, maybe not to direct the movie and write it, but I want them to be consultants on everything. I want someone who actually, like, from the good years, and I don't mean like the IP farm era, the post 2014 era of comics. I'm talking like the good shit. And I want them to be in the room with the writers, vetting every single thing and being like, this is not how this character is, or this is exactly how this character is. So that's number one I'm doing right off the bat. I don't know who I would put as I'd have to like really do research on who I'd want the showrunner to be, like the whole shit and caboodle.
Would you shit can everything James Gunn is doing and just put it all?
Oh yeah, I would. Like I said before, I would shelve everything and just, you know, because they really haven't promoted much about anything after this yet. So if they were to get rid of, like, I would keep Corn Sweat on, because honestly, he seems like he really wants to be Superman. He's just stuck in a shitty situation.
Yeah.
Like he has embraced the role. I just think he needs better everything around him. So I wouldn't like gut the actors necessarily. I try to keep some continuity, but we're gonna have James Gunn. Obviously, you can't even demote him to like lower projects because it'll always be a power struggle. So yeah, he's got to go as the guy in charge. I wish I knew who you gotta get someone hungry. You gotta get someone who hasn't been like doesn't really like it will be the thing that builds them, not necessarily like James Gunn was kind of already established. So
yeah, I agree with that. I think you would need to bring someone who really has a bit of passion and really wants to make their name and isn't just sort of you know, taking the next step up the corporate ladder, so to speak. All right, so we're going to get on to these. We're going to do upcoming movies, and here we go. All right, so we'll be given some predictions. By the way, I looked at our previous prediction stream, and I scored 10 out of 11. So I got 10 predictions correct out of 11. It sounds impressive, but they weren't difficult predictions. So it was things like Mando and Grog will bomb, like not hard to come up with.
Shocker.
That. Yeah, the one I got wrong was Masters of the Universe. I was basically on the fence. I said it might succeed if the movie is really good and gets good word of mouth. That was way off. It could have been the greatest movie ever made, and it still would have fucking bombed. So I took an L on that one. But yeah, I don't think I'll get 10 out of 11 for these though. These ones are more. Some of these are really tricky. Like, will they succeed? Will they not succeed? But we're also going to be just giving our general thoughts on the movies and whether we think they'll be any good or if they should really even exist. Or if it's an attempt to get a franchise going, and will that franchise go anywhere? Stuff like that. Starting off with the very exciting prospect of yet another Disney live action remake, and you know I love those.
So exciting.
Yep. So, Greg, you pleased to see the 40 millionth Disney live action remake? You excited?
No, and I'm also not excited about how much money this is going to make. Like this, it's going to piss me off when this makes all the money. It's going to make $1 billion. That's a literal $1 billion. It's going to make $1 billion for sure. And I hate that it's going to, because I detest this entire. The concept of this makes me so fucking angry, and I hate it so much. I won't be going to see this. I'm not going to take my family to see it. I didn't go see Lilo and Stitch. I didn't go see How to Train Your Dragon. And part of it is because, like, I'm not going to go see something that I know out of the gate that I'm going to hate. And there's no way for me to enjoy this movie. It's impossible, because I liked the Moana animated movie. I thought that was pretty good. And it's either going to be a shot-for-shot remake, and then I'll think, well, then what the hell did I come here for? Or they're going to change stuff like Lilo and Stitch, and I'm going to think, well, why did you change a perfectly great, fantastic movie? What the fuck did you do that for? So there's no, I understand that I cannot be satisfied with this, so I'm not going to go see. It's impossible to win with me, and I just hate the concept also on top of it. So no, I hate this so fucking much.
Yeah, I've given up. I don't watch them anymore. I don't watch these live action remakes from Disney. How to Train Your Dragon, I was Universal, I think, but I'm not ever going to watch any of them again. even for my channel, because honestly, everyone's just done with them. Like even my subscribers, they don't care about these shitty remakes anymore. And also, Disney have run out of the movies that people care about. Like Moana, okay. I mean, I think I was a grown adult working away when when the original Moana was released. Was it 8 or 9 years ago?
Yeah.
So it's not like they're trying. It's not like Disney, desecrating a movie that I loved as a kid. They've run out of all the good movies, so I don't give a shit. So I'm not going to watch any of them anymore. And like Greg says, they're either just direct plagiarisms or they're total bastardizations. So of course they're going to be fucking terrible either way. It's a waste of my time and money.
Yeah.
And also just in general principle, I think that these things should be boycotted. Because they are just plagiarisms, and there's no worse crime in art and culture. Not that this is art, but there's no worse crime than plagiarism. So no, I'm not gonna ever go see any of these pieces of shit. And this one looks like a plagiarism, like direct shot for shot plagiarisms. The crab grabbing Moana, for example. But I don't know, and I don't care. I've never seen Moana, like the original. I'll probably never watch it, unless maybe one of my kids will watch it, and I'll watch it with them. That'd be about it. But yeah, no, fuck these live action remakes. Never gonna watch any of them again. DarkHour, oh yeah, it'll make $1 billion. By the way, I agree with Greg. DarkHour, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it will probably make $1 billion. You basically said exactly what I wanted to do, which is that it's so soon to remake this or whatever you want to call it, or I'm not even sure you can call it a remake because, like you said, it's probably going to be shot for shot. That I remember when they announced it, and I just sat there, I was like, oh, it's a sequel? Like, what are they doing? And I'm not at this point, like, what are they going to start doing it now? I feel we're almost catching up to the point where they're going to release the animated version, then immediately put into production the live action remake to come out 2 or 3 years later. And that's just going to be the next step.
Yeah. Are they doing Tangled right now?
I wouldn't be shocked. So a lot of these I have no investment in. Obviously, as I grew up, Lion King was big. So when that one was remade, I cared. Snow White, it was just it's because of cultural significance as a movie. I cared. Not that I was ever really super invested in Snow White as a property. But like this, I feel like they're already scraping for, they basically want to capture the kids twice now. This is what it is, because then you're going to get in the ones, they're teenagers now for the most part, the ones that saw this as kids. And I'm actually hoping that hurts the numbers. That's my only hope, is that some of them will be in that age range where they're like, I don't really care. I'm not going to go see it. I don't want my parent, and obviously the parents don't need to take a 16-year-old that saw the original movie when they were 7. So it probably won't be the situation. It just sucks that it's I'm not sure if it'll hit $1 billion. Maybe it will definitely be in the high hundreds of millions though.
I don't think there's any competition is the thing. That's the reason I think it's going to make so much, is because what else are people going to take their kids to this summer? There's really nothing else coming. And so this has Disney on it. It's safe. They know that it's going to be fine. And so I think they're going to take their kids.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a big hit either way. Before we move on,
I was going to say, the one thing I find funny is that they abandoned the concept of The Rock playing a fat guy, because like he's in the original, like the real version, he's supposed to be like that overweight god who's all, basically is a disappointment. In this, he's just a jacked dude, just like always. So
yeah, he's The Rock playing The Rock.
Yeah, he's just The Rock with a wig on now. It's all it is.
That's a bad wig. Also, yes, they are doing Tangled. Live action is in production. That is already happening. So that will be another soulless live action that will come out, and it will just be awful.
Yeah. Turkish Toprak, will you cover more movies you enjoyed, Despot? Yes, my next video is going to be a review of Christopher Nolan's filmography, all of his movies. And I'm writing the script at the minute. I am up to The Dark Knight. So I'm currently working on The Dark Knight. And yeah, the script's taken a while. It's actually really tricky to write it. It's easy to write a script on, say, a movie that's shit, but when a movie's like really good, like excellent, you have to spend a lot of time looking into it, looking at the the production history, symbolism, the acting, production design, cinematography, taking all these different things into consideration and deciding what you're going to talk about and what you're not going to talk about. So it takes a long time to write the script. It'll take me ages to make that video, but
Yeah.
there are a lot of Nolan movies that I enjoy. So yeah, that'll be in the next movie or the next next video. What's your next video, Greg?
Oh shit. Man, I'm having some real writer's block. I'm trying to write about 4 videos right now all at once, and I'm not happy with any of them. So I have no idea what the next one's going to be. I was going to do something about Disney. Just I thought it might be easy. I had this idea about a West Wing video. I didn't like the way it was, so I don't know. I do know that you're going to get some hate on that one. Just because if you say you like stuff, that's weird. I had a video recently, a couple weeks ago, that was just about games that I liked. It was just 20 minutes of me being like, here's some games that are awesome, some that are already out, some that are upcoming. Here's why I like them. I'm just super excited. What do you know what your lowest like ratio is?
On any of my videos, it might have been when I criticized Thunderbolts, I said it's a piece of garbage. I think that one got 91%. And also my The Last of Us Season 2 video, in which I think the video was called The Last of Us Season 2 is a masterclass in bad writing, which it is. But I mean, I think the fan base was coping really fucking hard at that stage. They just didn't want to accept that it really was this bad. Last of Us Season 2.
Yeah.
And that's a fucking excellent video, by the way. I'm not even going to bother with false modesty. The video I did on The Last of Us Season 2 was great. It was specifically about episode 5, but I identified so many of the problems that destroyed the show, and I was completely correct. 100% correct. You can cope all you fucking want. That show was shocking. Fucking shocking.
Oh, it was.
Looked at my Thunderbolts video. It was actually a pretty low, like it was an 8 in the 80s.
Yeah.
I ran. There was a lot of people who defended the shit out of that movie.
Yeah, I ran into the Reddit crowd pretty fast when my.
They were mad, but it was they didn't have anything to work with. Mine. So that last video was just straight positive, just 20 minutes of me geeking out about games I'm super pumped about. 90.7 is that one. People were pissed that I was happy about games. It's very strange. It's a very strange phenomenon. I do not get that. So you're going to run into that though with Nolan, because you're absolutely right that especially with the Odyssey coming out, people are going to say, you like anything that Nolan ever did? Memento was actually dog shit, and here's why. Like, that guaranteed you're going to get a lot of that.
I understand that my Nolan video is absolutely a poison chalice, because some of his early stuff, I will criticize very harshly in that video and say, like, this is awful stuff. And I know I'll get Nolan chills in the chat saying, oh, actually Following is an underrated masterpiece. Or, Insomnia is easily his most underrated movie. Actually, a masterpiece of despair. You'll get the sort of pretentious chin rubbers attacking me for that. And then if I say other stuff, like, so if I say I love this movie, if I love The Prestige, or I don't think The Dark Knight is all that great, no matter what, I'm gonna get cooked in the comments. So it's a bit of a
Dark Knight is like the turn point.
We'll see what happens.
Where a lot of people get angry too, because there's a lot of problems with that movie people ignored because of Heath Ledger's performance. There's a lot of script issues with that movie. And I feel like that was the turning point for Nolan, because obviously before that he did a lot of artsy fartsy stuff for the most part. That was like, and then that was like his thrust into what now everybody knew who the fuck he was. It was like Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. Casuals knew who Christopher Nolan was now. And I feel like that's when he started this up-down trend that started to happen, where every other movie was either not commercially didn't do so great, or was just not well written. It doesn't necessarily it's not necessarily that the ones that aren't good commercially weren't as good critically, but
I mean, The Dark Knight, the reason it's overrated as well is because its highlights are really high. I mean, it has so many iconic scenes and iconic lines and iconic moments. It has some amazing stuff in it, that movie, like just excellent. like the amount, just the sheer number of iconic moments in the movie is amazing. But it makes people forget about some of the problems that the movie has. It's kind of like an album that has, say, 4 or 5 absolute fucking banger songs on it. And so people go around saying the album is a masterpiece, completely ignoring the fact that the other 6 songs are kind of, mid to not very good. They just pretend those don't exist. So it's a bit like that.
Yeah, I remember seeing The Dark Knight for a second time in theaters because I obviously that was one of the first where it was like everyone was going ape shit trying to get tickets. You couldn't get the midnight show tickets and all that stuff. And then I saw it a second, I saw it the first time after waiting for quite literally like a 5 a.m. show because I couldn't get the midnight tickets. And then I felt like I didn't get to really watch the movie because I was so tired. And then I went back like a week later and I was like, yeah, there's not quite as good as I remember it. And people didn't agree with me. So.
Yeah. Well, anyway, let's move on to. We could talk all day about Nolan, but hey, there'll be a time. Hey,
we talk about all day about Nolan. Let's talk about Nolan.
Yeah.
The Odyssey. So, well, you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
I get that reference.
I've talked about Nolan long enough. I'm going to get some fucking coffee. I'm going to shamelessly take off for 5 minutes. So fuck both of yous.
Enjoy.
Okay.
No, you go. You go first.
I don't give a shit about this movie like at all. It's not something when it was announced, I so quickly forgot about it. I don't know. I'm not Greek enough to care, I guess. I'm not really sure because I don't think anything that they could do is going to offend me because I kind of remember the Armand Assante version from when I was a kid, like watching that one.
Yeah.
And I obviously had to read it for high school, or maybe it was college. It was one of the two, but I don't have this investment where I see a lot of the coverage for it. I'm just like, okay, the castings suck, but it's not killing me as a person. So I mean, it'll probably still do pretty good in its opening week, I would say. Probably obviously not as big of a drop off as Supergirl. But it's probably going to be a significant drop off in that second week, assuming that the script is what a lot of people think it's going to be.
Yeah. I think it's, I don't have optimism for this even doing well on the first weekend, actually. And I agree with what you're saying because, for the people that are online a lot like us, you see the casting news, all that, like the controversy, all this, and we are aware of that, right? And, but I think your average, just normie person, they're probably seeing the trailer for this. And even if there's, maybe they're looking at the casting thinking, that's weird because they're thinking Troy with Brad Pitt, or they're thinking the Armand Assante miniseries, whatever. And so I think your average normie viewer is just going to look at this and go, I don't know, looks weird, or it just doesn't look interesting. That's probably what they'll say is, I'm not excited about that. So I don't even think they're really thinking deeply about it. And I also think that Nolan's name right now is not, after Tenet, it's not carrying the same gravitas and weight that it used to. Like Christopher Nolan used to be the name. And I don't think that he's regarded as like this shit director now, but I don't think that it's the same guy that, 10 years ago when a Christopher Nolan movie was coming out, like, oh shit, I got to see that, after Inception and some of the Dark Knight movies. And especially after, I said the movie earlier and I can't think of the name anymore. Anyway, I don't think people have the same feeling about him right now. And I just think the general audience is going to look at this. And I think they're going to maybe lump this in with some of the superhero movies and just think like, kind of not feeling it. So I don't see a lot of excitement. I don't see a lot of hate for this. I don't believe that there's as much controversy as people want to make it out. I just don't think there's any excitement whatsoever. And when it comes time to pick a movie, this is just not going to get chosen. And I don't see it having a massive opening weekend. And I don't see it having a good, any kind of legs, because I don't think it's going to be a very particularly good movie either. I think it's going to be a bit boring, especially when the people that go to see The Odyssey, and I'm afraid that Nolan is going to do Nolan and he's going to make it very personal, very gritty, very realistic, and it will not have any epic mythos to it. And I think that's going to be disappointing for a lot of the audience. And so you're going to see a big drop off.
Yeah. when it came to like, so obviously Oppenheimer did super well. Usually Nolan's movies do have legs. Like they don't always have the biggest opening week. It's usually the opposite of what we're saying. It's usually like it'll do pretty good, and then good word of mouth will go out for mostly for normie crowds who had no idea that it was what it was even about.
Yeah,
and then they'll go see it. That's kind of how Interstellar or Inception was probably the one that had the most in terms of it like grew with people talking about it. Like Inception, just like because everyone was talking about how especially the ending. Like a lot of people were like, "Oh, you got to see it because I got to talk to you about the ending. Like, what does it mean?" And then you had like movies like Dunkirk didn't do particularly great things for him. Tenet, you can blame a lot of things from Tenet on the fact that they decided to release it when no one was allowed to leave their houses. So that had to do, but also it was a confusing slog of a movie. I don't think it would have did well either way. I think most people left that movie knowing less about it than when they went in. And it's I think, like I said, he has this up and down nature to his career ever since the Dark Knight trilogy. And I feel like now with Oppenheimer being the most recent up, this is going to be the down. And I'm not saying it's going to have this amazing, huge opening weekend, but I think it'll be serviceable weekend, and then it's going to have a huge drop off.
Yeah, I completely agree with DarkHour. It opens okay, opens decent, and then it has a big drop off. It's not going to be Supergirl. It's not going to be 73%, but it'll be enough because this movie cost $250 million, and it's had a big marketing budget. So I reckon that it needs, you're talking like 700 million near enough for this to do well, and it's not going to get it. It really isn't. It would need to be an excellent movie with great word of mouth. The word of mouth has already been strongly sabotaged by Nolan himself with his really shitty casting and his race swaps. But the problem is, I don't think it'll be a good movie. Like all the race swap and all that shit aside, it doesn't look like a good movie. I was just watching the trailers preparing for this stream, and I thought this does not look like an exciting movie. There are other movies that we will talk about on this stream, and I watched the trailers and I thought, man, that looks awesome. I'm really looking forward to going to see that in cinema. Gonna have a great time with it, right? And the Odyssey, I just was not feeling it at all. The trailers, it just looks like a sort of serviceable, generic, ancient action adventure type movie, and just not very good at all.
Yeah.
So I really can't see this doing well. I think this is. I don't think it'll bomb, but I do think it'll flop, and it will be just a sort of typical Nolan L to add to the few he's already had.
Yeah, I feel like this movie was done zero favors. Every time they released a longer version of the trailer, obviously the first teaser, a lot of people didn't like it, but it wasn't ratioed. It wasn't like a lot of people were more confused by it. And then every single subsequent thing that was released, whether it be a longer trailer or a casting choice, it's done harm to it each time. And so I almost feel like they should have just played up the mysterious aspect in hopes that it would captivate people that way, because it just seems like the funniest one recently was Matt Damon on Telemundo. I don't know if you guys saw that, where they were trying to interview him in Spanish, and he's like, I don't speak Spanish, and then they basically couldn't answer any questions about the movie because he didn't know the language. And I'm like, everything that you could possibly do from a standpoint of a marketing tour, it's not quite as bad as Supergirl's marketing tour, but this is a very close second for the year so far.
Yeah. The other problem is that the controversy, the race swap controversy, has interfered with the marketing. So with the marketing, you want to be talking about things like, well, we built a real Trojan horse. You want a video about how they did that going viral on YouTube, or you want funny back and forths between, I don't know, Matt Damon and Zendaya, or Tom Holland and Zendaya talking about their their armor, makeup, and costume. Just these fun videos that tend to go viral on social media. That's really nice marketing, especially if it has real physical props that they can talk about, things that people can really sort of understand in a very clear, simple way. Oh man, the marketing for this has been dominated by abstract politics. And we saw with Supergirl, you do not want to base your marketing on abstract politics. It's a disastrous idea.
Yeah.
But if it does somehow is an amazing movie, which I don't think it will be, it might certainly make money, yeah, but it would need to be really good. And yeah, I've made my prediction. I think it'll flop. So there you go.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm if I had to put a number on it worldwide, I'm thinking 450 because it'll carry a little bit of the Nolan name, maybe a little bit of the it's the Odyssey. That's a thing that people know, but I don't think it's gonna. 450 is my number on this one.
Yeah. Despot as a Croat, I do like the prestige, but think Tesla's character is written very strangely. He makes sense for his role in the plot, but it doesn't quite click as his real historical personality. That's from Xanax the Zealous or Zealous. I think that's sort of why Nolan cast David Bowie, because David Bowie was an oddball, and you sort of see him and you think, hey, that's David Bowie. And I think he wanted the character to have that kind of psychological effect on the viewer. To sort of really stick out as an oddball, hence David Bowie. So I thought that was actually a brilliant piece of casting. I can't speak to the personality, to be honest. I think you would really need to be a Croat to understand Tesla on a personal level. Pinocchio Unstrung. This is actually one I'm looking forward to. Did you two see the trailer for this?
No,
I did not. I just read it a little, like when I was reading your list a little while ago, what we were talking about, like the ones I was like, no, I have no clue. I couldn't even put a prediction on this if I tried. So,
you can put a prediction on.
I'm a real bitch with horror movies though, so I'm terrible with that stuff.
You could easily predict this. This is, this is an easy hit because it only cost a few $1 million, I think.
Yeah.
So hold on, let me see if I can show you a little bit of the
I'm
trailer.
sure there's probably novelty involved. Kind of like did the Winnie the Pooh horror movie make money because of the novelty? Like it just got filled some seats that way.
But it actually looks like a good movie. That's the thing. The Winnie the Pooh is so bad. Like that Winnie the Pooh movie and a couple of the other ones, they're fucking terrible. I watch them because every year I watch all the Razzies Worst Picture nominations, and the Winnie the Pooh was on one of them, and I think Winnie the Pooh 2 as well. I can't remember what they were called, but it's Winnie the Pooh as an axe murderer, and fuck me, there's some of the worst.
Blood and Honey, yeah, I remember that now. Yeah, it just came back to me.
Blood and Honey, that's it. Dear God, they were terrible.
I just love that we're living in this era, by the way, of the what is it, the trademarks or copyrights, whichever one it is, where they're running out. It's a great era to live in.
Public domain.
Here we go. So this is the trailer for. I'll show you a little bit of the trailer for Pinocchio Unstrung. I'll have to keep fucking copyright. Hold on.
It's always hard losing someone you love. I'm sorry I had to experience all that so young.
So this kid presumably has to go to live with his uncle or something because his parents died, something like that. And I think he lost his brother as well. And then, the uncle introduces him to a new friend.
Doesn't feel the same anymore.
That's the sort of general idea. It has pretty good cinematography, and I think have either of you seen what's that movie called? It's the movie about that guy who shows up and then he slowly becomes a human by consuming people. I'm blanking on its name.
I haven't seen anything like that. So I'm not big into the horror scene. Just not my thing really.
I'm blanking on the movie's name. I wish I could remember it. It's a brilliant movie. No, it's not going to come to me.
I'll try to look it up for you. Hold on. I mean, you can keep going. You can keep talking about that.
So basically, that's a nice. It's a nice screen.
That's a great stop. That's your thumbnail right there.
That's a good one. So basically, Pinocchio. That was Pinocchio. It's a really nice character design. He wants to be a real boy, and it seems that he manages this by slaughtering people and taking their body parts for himself. It's
so Jeepers Creepers again.
I don't know if it's Jeepers Creepers. It reminds me more of I can't remember its fucking name. It's an 80s movie. Hold on. Best 80s horror movies. It's doing my head and then I can't remember this.
There's a movie called Human Eater. Was that the one you were talking about? I don't know. I'm just looking up things. Feed Me. I don't know. It's just a lot of ones where people apparently eat bones and all. A lot of movies where people eat people to become people. Apparently, it's more popular genre than you'd expect.
Well, that's basically the idea. He consumes people's flesh, and he is going to become a real boy by, you know, taking all their organs, things like that. That's gonna annoy me all day until I can remember the name of that movie.
You're gonna remember it as soon as we go.
Yeah,
not live. That's what's gonna happen.
I'll probably end up remembering it. All right. So, Spider-Man: Brand New Day. Oh, by the way, this one obviously makes money because it cost like $1 million or $2 million, and I think it'll be
just looking that up. Actually, I was looking.
It'll be a fun horror movie, and it actually does look quite decent. It has, you know, some fun cinematography, and of course, you have the public domain. The main conceit of the public domain humor, where you take a classic beloved childhood character and you make it funny and evil. So it'll do all right. It'll make some money. I mean, 10, 20 million, and it's already made a huge profit. So there you go.
Yeah.
It just looks like fun.
The Odyssey, apparently, I sent you a link there. Apparently, it's going to have a great opening weekend. Somebody in the chat pointed out that the news was from a couple weeks ago that the pre-sales are bonkers for that already. So I already calling that one wrong. I thought nobody would care about that, or that it would be sort of tepid reaction, but it looks like it's going to have a outstanding opening weekend with the pre-sales or anything to go by.
It says the Odyssey breaks IMAX records with 1 million ticket sales. So
yep.
They need to have a category on all of the, whether it be AMC, Cinemark, whatever one, where you can check off whether or not you're a YouTuber. That way they can keep track of how many people are just going to make videos on it. That would be a great, that'd be a great way to figure out why the ticket sales are up.
Sometimes, go ahead.
It's coming out in IMAX, so I think people are going to think it's going to be a great IMAX type. I don't know. I expect it to be tame and not a good IMAX movie, but that's just me, I guess.
Yeah. Well, in any case, sometimes I don't regret it, but sometimes I'm a little bit frustrated by the fact that I'm not a bandwagon YouTuber. So if Superguard comes out, you'll get a lot of YouTubers who are on it very, very quick, and they catch that initial wave, so they get a ton of views, but then it cools off. And I know, like, I missed out on that in Superguard. I knew I would, you know, Snow White as well. I didn't bother until I didn't touch that topic until the worst movies of the year video. And same with the Odyssey. Like, my Nolan video is not going to come out until way after that, like a good month at least after it comes out. And I know I can just see the vast sums of money YouTubers are going to make talking about the Odyssey.
I wonder if they will, though, because like, you know, sometimes stuff is even the stuff that does well. Like, Toy Story did not do well on YouTube. Mandalorian did not do well on YouTube. It's weird. Some of the stuff that the YouTube audience doesn't care, either that they don't care that it's bad or that it's just okay, like Toy Story. And so nobody wants to hear if it's good or bad. It's just sort of there. And the videos don't do well.
Yeah, maybe it's fatigue as well. Let's have a look at, actually, before we get into Spider-Man Brand New Day, let's take a look at some of the super chats. So Saint Fwink, Gun is done. Yeah, he is. It's just a matter of time. DarkHour called it right. As soon as that merger's done, the new bigwigs in charge are just going to shit can them and bring in their own people. Jax Comish, who has been a member for 16 months. Thank you, Jax. I am also angry, Ari. Mind-numbed masses will make Moana earn a ton of money, and I'll even angrier when the same thing happens with the Odyssey. Well,
I always hate when that happens with a super chat when I send them and I'm like, shit, there's a typo in there and I can't fix it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens with the Odyssey. I think Moana will certainly make more money than the Odyssey, depressing as that sounds. RRTNZ says, interested to see if Despot can avoid revisionism in his known filmography and remain fair. Also great to see Russ. That's DarkHour. I still expect a 5% royalty on Baby X Machina. Kidding. Happy stream, boys. Thank you very much, RRTNZ. Yeah, I mean, it's very easy to remain fair. I just review his movies, movie by movie, and that's it. I give my honest opinion on them, and then at the end, I'll do that the same thing I did with my Danny Boyle video. I'll just average out all the movies and give what I think is his sort of movie score average. And I think what it's looking like so far is that Nolan, I'll probably say he's a good director. I don't think he's overrated because I don't think anyone seriously considers him one of the greats. I don't think I'm wrong on that, am I?
No, I would say that people consider him to be very good. but I don't think that anybody's got him in league with like your Spielbergs or something, or like a Tarantino, even like somebody that just stand out, whether you think they're great or not. They're just a standout style director. I don't think anybody sees him that way, but I would say very good is how I would describe him.
Yeah.
And he is tiptoeing on that line for a little while. He was like right there, and then every time he almost walked over it, there was something that happened. It was like a movie that just didn't go well, or it was he missed it, but he misses it by like that much in his height.
Yeah. It's like if he'd have hit it out of the park with The Dark Knight Rises instead.
That's probably it, actually.
Instead of making that, which I love, by the way, I think that movie's his trashterpiece. But even Tenet, he had a lot of build up toward that. He was maybe probably the biggest director of the 2010s, and then fucking Tenet. So yeah, he's like DarkHour says, it's always almost. Christopher Tomlinson, my issue with live action remakes is the fact that Disney has a vault full of old live action movies that could be remade instead. Yeah, but no one would care about them because they've already done all the big names thus far, I think. Like all they have left is stuff like The Sword in the Stone, The Black Cauldron, just stuff that has been largely forgotten. Jack's Comish, I hate how the Odyssey looks. I want the movies from the classics, but not until all this modern audience crap. It's not going away. Even if you don't get the woke messages crammed down your throat, a lot of the tropes that we have come to associate with the woke era, the woke movement, call it what you want, they're never going to fully go away. So, I mean, do you seriously think Disney are going to spend a lot of money making movies with a straight white male lead? That's just not going to happen ever again. They would, in order for that to happen, you would need a kind of Elon Musk figure to come into the studio and just fucking gut it the same way he did with X and rebuild it from the ground up. So we're never going to get back to the 90s. You're always going to have the stink of woke sort of somewhere within the works. I naively thought that it might all end, say a couple of years ago, but they just keep pumping it out and they don't stop. Like that Malcolm in the Middle thing. I think Greg saw some of it. Like, it was shocking. It was fucking shocking. It was maybe that one was an extreme example, but Starfleet Academy, the horrible fucking race swaps in the Odyssey that everyone is sick to death of, but he does it anyway because of course he does, because it's hot.
The other issue is that it's going to be hard to subvert that. Like, I always thought, YouTube movies will take over or something, or like, independents, like in the video game industry, the independent studios are able to supplant because they have access to a distribution model with Steam or even with consoles. They are able to distribute with smaller distributors or whatever. The video game industry is non-union. And one issue with Hollywood is that it is so unionized, and there is I hate to use the term machine because it sounds so schemy, but there's an infrastructure in Hollywood and with television that it's almost impossible to get around that. You can't get the funding, you can't get the distribution unless you work with the system. And you're correct that it's never going to go away, because that system is now full of people that will refuse to admit defeat. They will never admit that these topics, these swaps, all of these things, that they're bad ideas. They're in love with it, even on a core level. It's part of their fundamental worldview. And so there's no way that Hollywood will ever start to make those older movies again, because the structure is now infested with that. There's no way around it.
Yeah, I actually want to briefly mention this. It's not just the ideological worldview of the people on the ground. And as I'll demonstrate here. So this is a channel, I'm a big fan of this channel, Collative Learning. This is one of my favorite film analysis channels. And he released an audiobook recently on his channel. It's free to listen to. 23 lessons from Kubrick, Methods and Philosophy. That's an excellent audiobook. I would recommend that, by the way, if you're interested in Stanley Kubrick, or you just want to, learn some useful life lessons, you can listen to that book there. And near the end of the book, he talks about how he made the guy's name is Rob Egger, by the way, the guy that runs the channel. He's from Liverpool. He's a British YouTuber, film critic, film analyst, and he's also made some short movies. And he said he made a short movie some time ago. I can't remember the year, but it was about like a 35-minute short movie, which he felt was very good and which had received some hate, and a lot of people had seen it thought it was a good movie. And he then tried to enter into mainstream British filmmaking circles so that he could get funding to make a feature-length film. And he had a lot of meetings with people, and he said he could tell by the demeanor of the people he was talking to, as soon as the meeting started, he could tell that they had completely lost interest in providing him with any funding or greenlighting him. And it was always the same. It was always immediate. He could tell, like, this is not going to go anywhere. And he said, and he was told to his face, flat out, by several people he met with, he was told, we can't work with you because you're a white man. Now, this is the British film industry. He said, there's no way we can get you funding. There is no way we can get you the support of the sort of establishment, the British film establishment, to get your movies made because you're a white man, and all of the funding is going to women and minority directors. And he was told that by different people to his face when he was trying to get funding for his feature film. And that's just a British film industry. He actually said he investigated this. He followed the money trail back, and what he found is that a lot of the money that enters the British film industry comes from the EU, and the whole purpose behind it is the EU are basically trying to break down national identities across Europe in order to form the sort of European superstate. I think this is actually before this happened while the UK was still a member of the EU, but nothing has changed. The fundamental idea is still the same: break down the national identities of Europe. So and you combine that with things like mass immigration, so that you can destroy people's cultural identity. You can divorce them from your history, and you can get rid of the notion that there's anything particular about their identity. Like, there's nothing particular about British identity or French identity or German identity. You're just you're all just interchangeable widgets. The average German can be replaced with the average Somalian, for example. There's no fundamental difference between them. We will replace you. We can replace you. And if you object, you're the one with the problem. I know I've gone down a bit of a rabbit hole there, but that's basically, that was his thesis, that he had been denied funding by a British establishment that was being paid for by the EU, who want to create a superstate. And in order to do this, you have to destroy the national identities and the national particular cultures of each region. It makes sense. It does. It makes perfect sense. It's part of a big propaganda effort. Yeah. So that's not going anywhere. That's never going anywhere. And it's the same thing with the United States. They don't want an America that has a clear sense of itself, that has a clear sense of its own identity. They want an America where they can just dump anyone from any part of the world to work very cheaply for major corporations. And in order to do this, you need to destroy the idea that you have an identity that needs to be protected and preserved and fought for. And you do this through propaganda. You propagandize people with woke, horrible shit, in which identity isn't national anymore. It doesn't come from your ancestors. It comes from the fact that you like to ejaculate into the ass of other men. Things like that. So that's my wee rant over.
This is the American identity. It's a fucking T-Rex. We're waving a flag.
Well, I'm fucking right.
Say fuck yeah. Well, that's what I was saying earlier. I'm actually super happy that people came here and are like, oh, shit, we've been lied to about America. It's the first time in a while I'm like, I feel people are seeing the real America, and I'm maybe we'll get maybe some people who are sick of shit that's going on in Europe that are actually a positive influence and can actually be productive will come here instead. It's maybe possibly.
Yeah. Do you know what an interesting aspect of like DarkHour was saying, like productive migration, the Nigerians are actually very successful in the United States. Like, there's a specific, I think it's the Igbo, who are this like southern tribe of Nigerians. They're very successful. I actually worked with one. My first job, I worked with an Igbo man named Okori, M.A. Okori. He was brilliant. He spoke fluent Korean, brilliant teacher. He always wore very nice suits. But these people, and apparently they don't really want anything to do with the broader Black identity of America. They want to separate themselves out from that. So you do get interesting, sort of unexpected, sort of law of unintended consequences with things like mass migration. There are interesting aspects to it. But anyway, that's just an interesting factoid I thought I'd bring up. So anyway, Superman, brand new day. No, I think I speak for all three of us saying this is a mega hit. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
Easy.
Honestly, I think it might even outgross a lot of the like. I don't know what the last one did. Does anybody remember what No Way Home did? Because I know it was a huge gross. But this one, the actual trailers and everything that's building up to it seems like it's doing the opposite of what Odyssey is doing. It seems like every time they release something, people get a little more excited for it. So
yeah, this one, and another thing about this as well, the marketing has all been very positive. So there's been no, Zendaya hasn't gotten on the mic and said, not that I'm accusing Zendaya of being an insufferable feminist. She seems like a fairly normal, boring girl. She's not getting on a mic saying things like, it's about time that men started supporting movies with women in them, or, I find it so frustrating that MJ is secondary to Peter yet again. There's none of this shit. It's all been very positive.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been oversaturated. We were talking about live action remakes earlier. One thing I could have brought up was that Moana is going to succeed. The live action remake, unfortunately, that's not dead. People kind of thought it was after Snow White, but the problem with Snow White was that it was massively, massively overmarketed and oversaturated, and it was the wrong kind of marketing. It was all very negative. And by the time the movie came out, people just didn't want to know about it. They were sick of it. I feel like with Spider-Man Brand New Day, it has the perfect amount of saturation. It's not oversaturated. The last trailer was a little bit long, but it's been very well marketed. They've given just enough, but not too much of this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, there's little clips in here that get you excited, Oh, there's cool villains. Oh, there's samurai guys in red. Oh, that, what they going to do now that no one knows who Spider-Man is? Like, yeah, there's enough that it's a real teaser. It's a teaser that actually teases things. Russ, to answer your question, No Way Home ended up making $1.92 billion.
So maybe it won't do that only because
Oh,
I didn't. I for some reason I thought it fell like just shy of $1 billion. Like I thought that was, maybe I'm thinking of a different one. But yeah,
domestically it was 814 million in America.
Maybe that's the number I'm thinking
1.1 international.
I got a question for you too, because it's a very American question, or that the answer is very American. I think I kind of have to be American to really get this. Also, I'm just not that big into comic books or comic book movies. I don't think I've ever read a comic book. But no matter what happens with the superhero genre, I think Spider-Man and Batman will always be able to make money. Those IPs will always be popular. Why is that?
I think so. Spider-Man.
You go ahead, Greg. You go first.
Sorry. Well, I would add X-Men to that list. Those things are always going to make money because the reason that those three franchises, I think, speak to people is because they're, I hate to say the word average, like Batman's not average, but they speak to this idea of your powers making you special, or their struggles tend to be more grounded, especially with Spider-Man and the X-Men. It's like, I don't fit in, or I don't feel, like I'm part of this group or whatever. There's more to those heroes, Batman, Spider-Man, and X-Men. There's more to them that thematically resonates with the audience than I would say any other, Captain America is a cool hero, but thematically, it's not 1945 anymore, and it doesn't resonate. The themes don't resonate the same way with the audience. Blade is cool as shit, but he doesn't have a theme that, emotionally attaches the audience. People see themselves in Peter Parker. I think that's why he remains the most famous superhero ever, because he's an average guy who's dealing with the average pressures of life. Oh, but also he is a superhero and has to balance that as well. So yeah, I think they're more thematically rich than any of the other superheroes that I can think of. Superman, any of them. They're just, there's more connection there.
It actually goes even deeper. So Spider-Man, like you said, he deals with a lot of real world problems, but he was dealing with teenager problems when he first came around. Yeah. And the market was teenagers. So they grew with the character and they identified with him on a level that you couldn't possibly recreate at this point. Because now if you try to recreate it, there's too many, like it's just almost, there was like a really strong identity for what a teenager was when Spider-Man came out. Now it's all over the place. Batman is just always been like the rule of cool for the most part. Like he was just, Superman was the Boy Scout, everybody, he was popular. Superman was a very well sold comic for a very long time. And then, but Batman always had the cool gadgets, the cool car, and he was, you know, the grounded nature of he actually is a human. You know, like theoretically, if you work really, really, really hard, you can get the money to get all the shit that he has. Now, obviously, there's the whole aspect of becoming the peak of human perfection, basically. X-Men is in that vein too. The thing that about X-Men actually is that, and you can see it. It always happens with almost every marginalized group will try to claim that it was inspired by them, and that's actually the thing that makes it so great, is that it was just about anyone who felt like they were an outcast in an outcast group. So yeah, but then I think Spider-Man, though, the reason why, Batman, the reason why he every couple years, every like 10 or so years, there was something that kind of kept pushing. It was like another wave, whether it be the 60s show, even though it was campy as shit, it kept him popular. Then you hit the 90s, and you have probably one of the greatest cartoons to ever come out in Batman the Animated Series, and that pushes it again, another wave of people. So Spider-Man is kind of like weird because he's always been really popular, but if you go into his actual comic stories, it's actually hard to pick out specific ones where people are like, that's the one you got to read, that's the one you should do. Like X-Men, Batman, you can do that, Superman even. Spider-Man just kind of consistently was always popular throughout the years, and I think it's mostly because of the growing up with him.
But it also looks like a good movie, Spider-Man Brand New Day. And 2 seconds, guys.
Yeah,
that was my cat, by the way. But yeah, I mean, there's a couple. I mean, I would say that another character that's sort of gotten into that realm is now Iron Man, but that's mostly because of
RDJ.
Yeah, that's mostly because of Robert Downey Jr.
Show us your puss.
Yeah, I'll get in a little bit. He's appeared on a couple of streams before, but that was more because of the movies and RDJ. Like Iron Man was he was a very secondary character for a long time, so he's the one that broke through in most recently.
Yeah, I think the Punisher is up there with Batman as well, but a little more gritty in that. I think for Batman and the Punisher both represent the like catharsis of just getting shit done and getting around the red tape and getting beyond the bureaucracy, and just the bad guys get what's coming to them. And in the Punisher, it's a little more violent. With Batman, there's always, I don't know, I think with the comics, he goes back and forth between killing people and not killing people, right? Like that rule is a little bit of a gray area, but I think that's why those characters also speak to a lot of the audience, because they just feel like that's the fantasy, is what if the villains just really got what was coming to them and that was it.
There's a couple people mentioning some story. So the when he got the Venom symbiote, that was in Secret Wars. It technically wasn't a Spider-Man story. So like a lot of his big things that happened to him were always in these large events that they were doing, which is one of the reasons why I think also Spider-Man cropped up, because he would always rise to the top of whatever the big event they were doing is. He was the turning point of the Civil War, for instance, when he flipped sides. He was the turning point. So yeah, he's always front and center in the big moments, but they're not necessarily always in his exact run. So like someone also mentioned the Scarlet Spider. That story started out great, the Clone Saga, and then it went off the fucking rails. So like that's one that I always say is like a one that people will point to, and then when you actually do some research on it, you're like, okay, yeah, that's not, because then it was, at one point they're like, oh no, Peter Parker's the actual clone and Ben Reilly's the real. That's really confusing, but he always rises to he's like the cream rising to the top in all of the big events.
I will say, with regard to Batman, I think people forget how close Batman came to cultural irrelevance. Like that, he could have disappeared into the abyss. The Joel Schumacher movies, Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, were atrocious. Batman and Robin in particular is regarded as one of the worst movies ever made. And the Batman franchise was just in the pits at that stage. And people forget about this. It was Nolan who brought it back. He actually saved the character and saved the franchise and made it something that the culture could engage with again and take seriously after the utter fucking abomination of Batman and Robin. So we have Resident Evil. This is the same guy who directed Weapons, which it's a good movie, Weapons, but I think it was probably one of the more overrated movies of, was it 2025 Weapons? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that was one of the most overrated movies of last year. Good movie. Weapons, good, but people were calling it like a horror classic, which it isn't. It's just quite good. Now, I saw the trailer for Resident Evil. I'm not a huge Resident Evil fan, so I'm not going to geek out about how it's not a accurate adaptation, but I mean, the guy is on record as saying, I don't give a shit about don't give a shit about Resident Evil. I just wanted the Resident Evil skin to put over my own project so that it will sell. Like, he has openly stated that, which, to be honest, I actually kind of respect. What I can't stand is when you have these posers coming out pretending to be very into IP that they clearly don't give a shit about. So fair play to him to just being honest about it. The movie itself kind of just looks like a generic zombie movie. It looks like something from 2009. It's very dated looking. Sort of zombie revival era slop. It'll be interesting to see if it hits, or if people still aren't ready to go back to zombie movies after the fucking catastrophe that was The Walking Dead, because that killed the zombie revival era. Did you see the trailer for this, Greg?
Yeah, it depends. It's like your horror movie thing. It depends how much it costs. I also think that you have to throw in there the fact that the Resident Evil name is still somehow popular. I think the games are doing great. I don't play them, but I think the games are doing fantastic. But it's weird because this one's a really hard one to predict, because the Resident Evil movies have historically always been shit. And they've tried a lot of times with a lot of different actresses. They've tried a bunch and they've never been great. They've either been Yui Bowl nonsense where they just are just fucking stupid, or you've had people take a shot at them where they're doing the last 20 years of like, stupid, these video games are dumb, but we're going to make a video game, but we're also it's dumb, but we're going to take it seriously but not serious. It's that shit constantly. The Mila Jovovich ones are actually, I think, the closest that we had to good movies, because they just kind of they had fun with them. I don't think they took them seriously, but they had fun with them. But yeah, this is a tough one to predict. I think it'll make a decent amount of money, and as long as they didn't spend $100 million on it, I think that they'll more than break even just because of the name.
Vex Electronica is in the chat. She says, Kreger wrote the script before he acquired the rights and then modeled his existing script to Resident Evil lore. Probably will be a decent horror movie, but an awful adaptation. Yeah, I think she's probably correct about that. He does seem to be a good director. Like I said, I enjoyed Weapons, good movie. I'd probably watch it again at some point. And then end up liking it even less than I did the first time. But with this, yeah, it looks fun, and I do like myself a bit of zombie slop. I think me and my wife watched like 8 seasons of The Walking Dead, and I think I still remember the exact moment we gave up and refused to watch anymore. It was when the Korean guy, Glenn, is that his name?
Glenn, yeah.
He got beaten to death with a baseball bat, and we just thought, oh fuck this. It wasn't that it was too gross, it was that it was too nihilistic.
You were like, how dare they do that to a Korean guy? That's not, I know he could have been my neighbor, damn it.
It wasn't, it was just the sheer nihilism, the hopelessness, and also the fact that the show had gotten really boring as well. It was just running around in circles. They go from place to place to place to place to place to place, and the place always gets overrun by zombies, and then they go, oh geez, The Walking Dead was so bad. Good start though.
If all they really need to do is make Resident Evil 7 and adapt it so that Lady Dimitrescu, whatever the hell her name was.
That was 8. That was Resident
just
Evil 8.
Big giant goth lady. And if she's on screen like 50% of the time or more, it'll make $1 billion. They'll make so much money with that.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like Hollywood. It's not hard.
Dimitrescu, by the way, is how it was pronounced.
That
was Resident Evil 8 Village.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
I don't know how.
I'm a huge Resident Evil fan, actually, like insanely huge Resident Evil fan. So, this particular movie, by the way, like Vex said, actually, it does feel like it was just tacked on there for the most part. Almost nothing in the trailer is reminiscent. The only thing I could find, I watched it like 3 or 4 times. I found a single herb, like a planted herb that from the game. That was the only reference I could actually see besides generic zombies. And I think it's not. I don't think it's. I mean, I don't know how much they're putting into it. I don't think it's gonna make a lot of money. And because like I'm not even sure. It would have to be a really, really low budget, because it's getting to the point where even all the Resident Evil fans are tired of this happening.
Yeah.
The Mila Jovovich movies were in a way fun, but they were clearly just vehicles for the director's wife to be a badass. They sidelined all the characters after a while. Like going back to like the second movie, they started sidelining the characters as background just for references.
Yeah, this is $80 million, by the way, DarkHour, the budget.
Oh, then no, I don't think this is going to make any money.
Oh, that's way too much.
That's way too fucking much.
You're talking, and that's as of now. So this is coming out. I'm not sure when exactly, but that'll probably go up. And then you got the marketing budget. It's not going to make. I think this thing is going to lose. You're going to lose money.
I don't know. Vex thinks the goodwill from Weapons is going to carry it, but 80 million is a lot.
It might, but I think Weapons was really more of a one-off. I think that Weapons was carried by its gimmick and its really excellent marketing, and it's fun premise. That was actually my problem with the premise. Like the notion that 17 kids go missing and the feds somehow don't find them. That's fucking absurd, and it could have worked. And before someone copes in the comments by saying, "Oh, well, the kids left the house when the feds were there," it doesn't work like that. Okay, the first thing they do is sniffer dogs, right? And sniffer dogs are amazing. Like, you have no idea how effective they are. They get the dog, right? The dog sniffs the kids' clothes in the bedroom, and within 20 minutes, they find them. Like, it's that simple. You would need to do a lot more work. The problem was the guy just didn't do his research on like police protocol or anything. He just said, no, they're in the basement, and then they go to the forest, and then they go back to the basement, and the feds don't find out. And also 17 kids missing in the same town, in the same classroom. The entire world's media will arrive the next day, and all the wannabes and all the TikTokers will arrive, and it's ludicrous. It's an absurd.
Someone's going to figure it out.
It's an absurd premise.
I mean, look at how we treated a bunch of guys in Chile trapped in a mine. We were excited as fuck about that.
You'd need to descent the kids so that the sniffer dogs couldn't get them. Then you need to put them in a secret room under the basement, and the room would have to have it would have to be a shower room to keep the stink of piss and shit from filling the neighborhood. It's a fucking dumb premise. Just does not work.
The worst part about just to go back to Resident Evil real quick, the worst part about it is that all they need to do to have a successful movie with the fans, which is still one of the most popular gaming franchises of all time, if it's up there, and all they need to do, the first movie is quite literally a B movie feel. Just make it, just do it, and it will make money. It wouldn't cost that much because the whole thing takes place in one house. For the most part, in a lab underneath it.
Yeah,
you don't need these big cityscapes. Just make the haunted house with special forces people that everybody wants, and they would make a shit ton of money on it. And then the next movie they could start doing weird, like they could deviate a little bit, but really the second movie would be it's in a police station. And the worst part is right now Resident Evil is kind of on a high again. So this would be the time if that came out, it would be great. I know because of 9's success, which I was like the top selling game in terms of pre-sales ever. It was like insane.
Let me ask you, DarkHour, since you like these games a lot, if you're with the movies, if they're going to make a movie, should they lean into some of the silliness of it? Like, should they have somebody use an herb to fix a cut, or should they feature tofu heavily somewhere?
No, tofu is historic. That's just a hip hop. That's like a joke inside of it. But a lot of the later games have somebody actually said it in the chat. I think it was great. The later games started losing the plot, but the core starting trilogy was fantastic in terms of setting for for movies. I would lean into some of the you could still lean into some of the silliness, I think, because that's part of the charm of the old games was the campy dialogue. I don't really know how you could make the herbs work in a realistic way.
What do you do with them?
You mash them up into a paste or something. I don't really. Yeah, I don't know how that would work in a real scenario.
So,
but I think if you could lean into the campiness, and I think people would appreciate it.
With the you've seen Andor, right?
Yeah.
And you know that the director or the writer famously said he doesn't even like Star Wars. So in your opinion, with a adaptation, like video game adaptations, do you think that people that are super into Resident Evil need to be making these, or because fucking the Mandalorian verse is absolute shit, and Dave Filoni is a Star Wars nerd, but then Andor comes along and the writer doesn't even really care about Star Wars, and it's the best Star Wars there's been in a decade. So, in your opinion, do you want diehard fans making these things, or do you just want a competent writer who doesn't really care about the lore and the story, and they'll just kind of fit it in as they go?
So I don't think you need to be a hardcore fan, but I do think you need to at least do your research. I think because Resident Evil is for the like later on it gets crazy. Obviously, there's 1,000 viruses. There's people punching boulders. It gets out of hand. But like the core first few games, yeah, they have the corporate, like the corporate evil corporation that's really trying to do some shady shit. But for the most part, they're just zombie survival games. So you could do it pretty easily and just cherry pick the things you need. Like this character is this, so we just need to make sure that he's at least similar, and then it would work. You don't, and maybe if you want to mold it a little bit to be a little bit more cinematic, that's fine. But I think as long as you have the general feel of everything, because you can lean into the B movie aspect of the early games too, of like 1 through 3.
All right, well, let's move on. This thing is gonna bomb so hard. So this is a Tom Cruise comedy, and it's directed by a guy called Alejandro G. Iñárritu or something. I don't speak Spanish, so I have no idea how to pronounce that. And I don't know what this is. I couldn't find out any information about it. It's coming out in October, and that's closer than you think. I mean, we're in July, August, September, October. So this thing's like not even 3 months away. And there's no trailer for it. I haven't seen, there's no plot summary on Wikipedia. There's no promotional material for this at all. There's no teaser. There's nothing. And it cost $125 million. What the only fuck trailer is this?
The trailer is 3 minutes long, and 2.5 minutes of it is just the highlights of Tom Cruise's career.
Are you sure that wasn't like a fan made? Do you know those?
No, that was a real trailer. They showed it in theaters. That was real.
What? Because I watched several of these, and I thought, oh, it's one of those fake trailers that those bullshit accounts make to try to drive clicks. You know what I'm talking about? Like those June 3 trailers. June 3 full trailer, and it's fake. Right, it's either AI or it's usually made from footage from previous movies.
No,
it has like a 90% dislike ratio. I thought it was one of those. Was that the actual trailer?
This is from the Warner Brothers account. I'm looking at it. I just watched it. It's from the Warner Brothers account. It's 3 minutes and 13 seconds long, and I'm telling you, 2 minutes and 45 seconds is just like you've seen trailer. Tom Cruise in all of these movies, and then at the very end, there's a shovel, and it's just. There's a comedy.
And he walks out and says, like, let's do this or something. I don't remember the exact line.
You know what? I'm gonna pull the trailer up because people won't believe.
You're gonna get this. Well, you're gonna have to fight 16 or 17 different production companies after this.
I'm just gonna do screenshots. I'm just gonna do screenshots. I know fucking Warner like.
We don't run ads on the live streams anyway. It doesn't matter.
No,
I was actually.
If it gets copyrighted, then YouTube runs the ad. They get all the revenue, and our listeners are forced to endure the fucking ads for a live stream. So that's my worry. But I'll share screen anyway and pull this up.
Is that
I was surprised. So a lot of the clips were from obviously different production companies. I was surprised that they put them all together in one trailer. Like there had to be.
Let's have a look here. So you got Top Gun, then Magnolia, I think.
Interview with the Vampire. You got.
What the fuck is
that? Literally every movie he's ever been in.
There's the Rain Man. I watched that the other day. Risky Business. Pretty good movie.
Yeah, Risky Business. There's there's a
lot of Edge of
Tomorrow.
Yeah, I always go to call it Live Die Repeat because that's what they really wanted to call it.
It's just Tom Cruise's greatest hits, right?
Yeah.
And then what the fuck is that?
What is that from?
Fuck! I know it. It's just not.
Well, anyway, there's a Few Good Men and Last Samurai. That's
Mystery Men,
really underrated. Maybe? Like that's maybe his most underrated movie, Last Samurai. It's amazing. There's this whole subgenre of underrated
Rock of Ages. Rock of Ages is what that
amazing. Anyway, so it's just this, right? And this is why I thought the trailer was fake. I thought, it's some fan made bullshit. And then at the very end, this is the only part of the trailer that is original. Here we go. And that's it. That's the fucking trailer.
That's it.
And then a few shots from the movie, and then one of the worst posters you've ever seen in your life. this. That's the fucking.
It's very orange, extremely orange.
Does anyone think this isn't going to be a massive fucking bomb?
I just don't know that anybody even knows what it is. Like, there's no marketing for this at all.
But that's
I
the thing.
didn't know anything about it until you put it on the show list.
This is what they're thinking. They thought that they were going to put this trailer out and nobody would know what it was, and it would create all this mystery, and everybody would be talking about it, trying to figure it out. And no, just nobody gives a fuck.
I mean, there's still some time for them to release an actual trailer. I would reserve judgment on whether it's going to make money or not until we know what the movie's actually about.
Well, I know that it cost.
Problem.
Thus far, it's cost 125 million. That's the production budget. So you're talking that this thing, nobody even knows what it is 3 months out, and it needs $300 million.
Well, what's weird is that I think what it seems like, because they're calling it, a catastrophe or a comedy of catastrophic proportions, and the 3 seconds of clip that you get is him just, being woo, yeah, excited. Maybe what they're trying to go for, I mean, Tropic Thunder was 20 years ago, but maybe they're just trying to. Remember him in Tropic Thunder? We just made that character into an entire movie in a cowboy hat. Maybe or maybe he's just at the point. He's like Daniel Radcliffe with Swiss Army Man, where he's like, I don't give a fuck. I'll play a corpse who farts the entire movie. I don't care. I'm Tom fucking Cruise. I'll do whatever I want at this point. He's had a career that spanned 40 years. He can just do whatever he wants.
Yeah, this is probably the most random movie we're going to talk about, and I don't think it has a hope in hell. Guys, does anybody think this thing does anything?
I can't make any prediction without at least waiting till a second trailer for this one. I need to know what the actual premise is before I could really say anything. I can't. I'm sorry.
All right. No, that's fair enough.
The premise is Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
that's fair enough.
Remember Tom Cruise?
I think we talked a little bit about this in a previous stream. Street Fighter.
I'm so excited about this.
Mortal Kombat bombed, which doesn't bode too well for this.
So Mortal Kombat was rated R. Does this have a rating yet? Because when we talked about it last, we talked about this, or I brought it up, because I think this is going to be the make or break. And I think the R rating killed Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, it is an R-rated movie. Like, that's not an inaccurate rating.
Right. It looks like it does have a rating. It's PG-13. So I think Street Fighter is going to do much better because of the PG. I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. Mortal Kombat needs an R rating. It wouldn't be Mortal Kombat without it. But I think that Street Fighter will do better because this is a movie you take your teenagers to. This is a movie when you're 19 with your bros, or you're in your early 20s with your bros, you go see this. Or if you're like a 40-year-old and, I don't know, somehow you and your dad friends can get away and just go yuck it up with this thing. But I think this looks like a more fun movie, and it's going to be more accessible to a wider audience. So it's going to make more money. Whether it's a better movie or not, I don't know. But I think this is going to do well. It's going to be a fun movie.
No, Greg has me convinced. With a PG-13 rating, really fun trailer, big brand name, and pretty good marketing thus far. Yeah, I think it is going to make money. It'll do a lot better than Mortal Kombat.
Do you have a budget?
Rating. No, I couldn't find a budget, but I don't think it's that high. I think I was seeing 125 million or less, but yeah, it should make some money, I guess.
So there's one aspect.
I think it'll do a lot better than Mortal Kombat 2.
There's one aspect that I don't think anybody has accounted for with this one yet, and they've used multiple WWE wrestlers for characters. So I would not be shocked if they're going to be heavily marketed toward that kind of crowd, which might show up and pump the numbers artificially.
Yeah.
That being said, from what I've seen of it, it looks like people who didn't have a really good budget for cosplay in all of the costumes for the most part. And I'm not sure that the actual video game crowd is going to be as excited for this as they would like, because it just kind of looks a little cheap.
Yeah, but the casting for Chun-Li and Cammy are really, really good. They found actresses that are really excellent actresses, and I think that they nailed it with those two in particular, and that's going to sell a lot of tickets. As crass as that is, I think that's going to do well. It has the general look they're going for. I think it's going to be fun.
It also doesn't need that much if the budget is to be believed. Like if it gets to 250 million, I don't know. No, I do think this will make money. I'll
I
take
think
it.
it'll make money. I just don't think it's going to be a massive hit. I think it's
it won't be a massive hit, but I think it'll be a decent. It'll pull in a little bit of money at the box office, and then that's it. They'll be happy with that, but it won't be a massive hit. It's just the Street Fighter was never a big. I mean, all the Street Fighter movies bombed, didn't they?
Or there was only one Street Fighter movie
made for TV garbage.
Well, no. I guess there was also that history, that Legacy of Chun-Li or whatever. I forgot about that one. That was
how did he like the Jean-Claude Van Damme one is like a cult classic, but I don't know if it did well at the time.
No, it didn't. It didn't.
Raul Julia, it's crazy.
It's so the thing. Street Fighter is a little bit more popular, I think, nowadays. At its peak, though, like Mortal Kombat was more popular early on. But I think Street Fighter has had a more enduring legacy because, first of all, they don't reboot. They haven't done the, let's restart the storyline and erase all this shit. They just continued it, which helped. And also, it's more popular on the fighting game like scene, like in terms of competitive. So that does help it a lot. But I don't know. It'll be a decent amount.
Yeah, we're about halfway.
They've never tried to make a Tekken movie.
I think that would bomb miserably. I mean, is Tekken even a thing anymore? I mean, I know it was popular in the 90s, PS1, very popular during that era, but I don't think.
Oh, it's still going. Tekken 8 came out last year or the year before or something. It's still going. And I just feel like a movie with a talking tiger-headed fella and an old guy with crazy all bald, I don't think it has shock white things on the side. It would just look cool.
You can market Street Fighter with its most popular iconic characters, specifically Chun-Li. Like they've gotten that, like put her right in the middle and show her thighs on the poster. Like that's perfect. They know exactly how to market it. Yeah. If you're going to market it, you have to front it with Chun-Li. But with Tekken, there's no like which character.
King is the most iconic character in Tekken. He's the one that's actually a mask. That's not a real head. But it's Tekken is actually still really big it's bigger in Japan than it is in the United States. United States, Street Fighter has dominated Mortal Kombat has dominated. Tekken is still it's still big here, don't get me wrong, but it's way bigger in Japan.
All right. Well, let's we're halfway through our predictions, so let's just look at some super chats. Tiny Conspiracy 9997, $20. Thank you very much, Tiny. Despot, I watch your stuff for your humor and wit. I am so oversaturated with the evil of the modern audience. Everything is political poison disguised as entertainment. Can't blame you for not wanting to watch more Drek. Yeah, well, I'm getting a bit of a break from that level of Drek with my Nolan video, and then I'll be back. I'll be right back into the Drek after that. God knows what I'll do after that video. Little Tripoli. Hey, lads. Finally caught you live because I'm up for the football. Might as well ask a question. How do you rate Echo's tunes? I listened to Despot's albums. Pretty good. A little like Lightspeed Champion. Thanks for listening to the albums. Honestly, I think Echo's music is shite. And no harm to Echo. I respect the man. I think he's a brilliant writer. And he's very astute with his cultural insights. But I cannot pretend to like his music. I think it's trite and kind of hammy and uninteresting. And I have listened to it, and that's what I think of his music anyway. So Robin D. Johnson, at least it'll be better than any Craig Bond. Well, that's not hard. I mean, Craig Bond movies are fucking terrible, with the exception of Casino Royale, which was really good. But I mean, Quantum of Solace, fucking awful. Skyfall got a lot of hate when it came out. People saying, "Oh, it's a modern Bond masterpiece." Skyfall is fucking boring. God, I can't stand that movie. Spectre was a waste. With Spectre, they turned down possibly the greatest Bond song ever written, Spectre by Radiohead, and instead went with some random ass piece of shit by Sam Smith. Fuck, that movie was terrible. And then they completely botched Blofeld. Just fuck that one up. Blofeld, they couldn't get the rights to that character for decades. They finally get the rights, and then they fuck it up. I think the Daniel Craig Bond era was a fucking failure. I mean, it made a lot of money, but it was way too serious. It wasn't humorous enough. They did everything they could to cuck and castrate Bond. It was shite.
Yeah. Do you agree with Craig? Because he's come out and said in interviews that the reason that they felt they had to do that was basically because of Austin Powers, that Austin Powers parodied Bond so well that they felt they couldn't come out and keep making the same Pierce Brosnan, Roger Moore Bonds because they were playing right into it. So they felt like they had to take a different direction. Do you think they could have worked after the Austin Powers era?
The Austin Powers specifically, that was parodying an era of Bond that is closer to Roger Moore. Like Roger Moore's Bond at his silliest. And Austin Powers reminds me of Roger Moore Bond and a little bit Sean Connery. So that's what it's parodying. When you look at 90s Pierce Brosnan Bond, which I think I think Pierce Brosnan is the best Bond. And that's arguably the best Bond era. That was perfect. It had the right balance of humor, and it was also quite grounded and serious at times. It's still crazy fucking Bond hyper reality. You know, Bond is still basically playing a super genius. It's still very much a male fantasy, but it balanced that really well. And except when they got to Die Another Day, and then it just went off the rails and it became off the fire.
When he surfed a glacier with a space laser firing at him.
I love that shit.
Off the rails.
But prior to that, they had the balance. They had it perfect with Pierce Brosnan. The problem is they took all that sort of Austin Powers criticism too seriously, and they went way too serious with Daniel Craig. Not enough humor. Like, he's too serious. He's too brooding. And there's a few jokes in there, but they don't really land that well. And some of them, like Quantum of Solace, is just such a humorless piece of shit. I can barely remember that movie. Same with Skyfall, so humorless, so dull, so miserable.
Yeah.
They were trying to be. They started out trying to be Jason Bourne movies, and then they kind of morphed toward MCU because they wanted to do versification, which is why you had that atrocious line from Blofeld: "All your pain, James, all your trials and tributes, I have been the author of it all," or whatever the fuck the line was. That was just horrendous, where Blofeld claims to have been responsible for all the bad shit that happened in Daniel Craig Bond's life.
Well, Skyfall was also trying to do like the subversion thing. It was like this, MI6 is actually terrible, and Javier Bardem is the, all the evil that they've created in the world. It's coming back to them. They're actually not the good guys. Oh, Bond is really not, and MI6 is not good. It did that shit, and people are tired of that shit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they'll be able to bring Bond back in the modern era. It's just, I think the ideologues want to sink their teeth into Bond and tear it to shreds, and they absolutely will. Lord Despot
do it.
Yeah, especially since it's Amazon now. The cash flow of brainless content is like the One Ring. It is powerful, but it corrupts and wears out good people. Do you want to be a content-brained Smeagol like the Quartering? Oh, Jesus. Don't get us started in the Quartering.
Hey, now.
We'll just go on
fighting words.
Yeah.
But you could make a lot of money selling coffee.
I actually went through a period where I was like, I didn't want to there were so many things that I could have did videos on. I just didn't want to because I felt that was kind of the route I was going. I was like, unless I had something interesting to say and I could entertain people with it, I wasn't just going to put out a video, basically.
But the Quartering does teach us valuable lessons, and we should learn those lessons. Don't watch porn.
Yep.
Don't do drugs.
Bad for you.
Keep alcohol social and light. And, don't watch other men fuck your wife. Those are the 4 lessons that we want to take from the Cockering. All right.
Oh, God.
Oh, sorry. I didn't read this one. RTNZ. Chuck Norris earned a PhD in mathematics for solving an unsolvable maths problem with a single word: violence. Because Chuck Norris can solve any problem with violence. When Chuck writes a check, the bank bounces. Those are good. All right. Thank you very much, RTNZ.
RTNZ is notorious for his great Chuck Norris super chats.
I'm still not tired of Chuck Norris stuff. I'm never going to get tired of that.
Willen and 8. Hi, Despot. I've super chatted before, but wanted to ask, as current media production college student who wants to change major to script writing, what is your advice for an aspiring script writer for film? It depends where you are in the world, but if you are a white man, your chances of getting into the establishment are basically zero. So you'll need to take an independent route. Here's my advice, because I've been asked this by other people who have sent me emails and things. How would I become an independent filmmaker? Now, I'm not an independent filmmaker, and I don't aspire to be, so I'm not necessarily someone you would ask about this, but I've thought about it, and I've talked to people who are independent filmmakers, and this is my advice. You have to do it by yourself. You're not going to get any help from the establishment, even if by some miracle you or by virtue of your identity, like let's say you're a half black homosexual, so they just about let you in to the establishment. Even then, you wouldn't have any sort of independence. Your script and your creative ideas would be very heavily changed by the people who are giving you the money. So they're not really your projects anymore, and they would steer them toward the abyss, and they would fail. So you have to do it independently. My advice would be, keep it simple. Start a YouTube channel and start uploading short 5-minute movies. Now you might say, "Oh, I don't want to do 5-minute movies. I want to do fucking feature length." Right? Listen to me. If you can't make a great 5-minute short movie, you can't make a great movie. If you can't make a good 20-minute movie for $1,000 budget, you can't make a good movie. All right? And it's just that simple. If you can't do it at a low end, at a low scale, why would you be able to do it at a high scale? So start out small, start on YouTube, do the short movies, try to improve your craft. Don't worry too much about quality early on, except that the early stuff's going to be shite, and build up from there. But just don't think you're going to break into the establishment. That is never, never, never going to happen. And that's before we even get into the nepotism. So we've already talked about how if you're a white man, you have basically 0% chance. But if it's the nepotism as well, you're just not connected. Hollywood isn't really a place anymore. In fact, a lot of the productions are filmed in the UK now. But it's more of a sort of cult. And if you're not in the cult, you're not getting in the cult. It's probably the most nepotistic industry in the world.
Can I give one piece of advice as well? Because I've spoken to, I have a friend who's a screenwriter. The most important thing is learn the process, like for real. Don't try to go in like raw. Like they don't go in raw. Don't just start writing a script. Like, build everything out, build your beat sheets, build all of it. Like do it, because that really the script builds itself is how I was taught. Once you figure out, okay, this is where this scene is, this is where, and there's actually a lot of really good books that you could just read on it. You don't necessarily have to take a college course on it. I did take a few screenwriting courses in college myself, and most of the time it was just them being like, go read this book. So you could teach yourself for the most part, and don't use, someone just said in the chat, don't use ChatGPT. Don't use
ChatGPT. All ChatGPT does is just amalgamate stuff it finds on the internet. It doesn't do anything new or original, which is why Supergirl felt like it was written by ChatGPT.
You can use it as a digital assistant, like to keep your thoughts in order, but that's about it.
Yeah. Although I would advise adopting a zero AI policy. Just get away from it. RTNZ again, thank you very much. Legit question: does Despot's realm include Craggy Island? Has he recovered the money resting in Father Ted's account, or is that an ecumenical matter? My realm is Antrim. I will one day expand, but for now, I'm merely the Despot of Antrim. Tom Dillon for $10. I want to live in a universe where Citizen Vigilante wins Best Picture Oscar. It did have plenty of diversity in it. It's a fun. I mean, look. Let's be honest. It's an awful film, but I find it very entertaining. It's like Taken meets Madam Web. A lot of fun. I was actually offered. GB News got in touch with me. They wanted me to go on and talk about Citizen Vigilante. But I wouldn't do it because it's too much of a poison chalice. I would have to go on there and say, well, look, I like the message of the movie, but at the same time, it's a pretty bad movie, and the main character is clearly psychotic, which kind of undermines the message. There's great movies you could do with what Citizen Vigilante is getting at. For example, in Sweden, recently, this happened. There was a migrant who, I think he was a Middle Eastern Muslim migrant, and he raped a teenage girl. And of course, the court basically congratulated him on his rape of the girl, said, well done, thank you for helping us with our ethnic replacement agenda. Here's 120 hours of community service, go rape some more girls. So that's what the court did. And he was a taxi driver, this guy. That girl, her brother, and their friends lured him to a forest, and then they killed him and staged it to look like a suicide. The police investigated, and they found out that it had actually been these kids that had killed the guy. And because, of course, they fucking did. Their kids. They don't know how to cover their tracks. You need to be a forensic expert to do that these days. But anyway, the kids got caught, and of course, the courts wanted to really throw the book at them and put them away forever. I think they ended up getting lighter sentences in the end. But that would be an excellent movie. If you did that right, it'd be an amazing movie. And it's exactly the kind of movie the establishment doesn't want made. See, They can take a Citizen Vigilante because it's such a bad movie. By the way, all those fucking losers sparking out on X. Well, Citizen Vigilante is actually quite a poor movie. The cinematography is stodgy at best. They're like 1,000-word essays on X talking about what a bad, as if anyone was claiming that Citizen Vigilante is a cinematic fucking masterpiece.
It's Uwe Boll. I mean, it's the same guy that we've been making fun of for decades for his terribly shit movies. Nobody thought Uwe Boll was going to make a good movie, like a quality movie. There's no
I would
chance.
love to see. But I do love the fact that Citizen Vigilante broke that taboo. It did, and that is a real taboo, not one of those fake taboos like feminists talk about how talking about your period is a taboo. And it's, well, then why the fuck do you never stop talking about it? He really broke a taboo there, and fair play to him. And I would like to see it done more, but with good movies. Mipralco, $3 super sticker, thank you. And Robin D. Johnson, no, please do get started on the quartering. Sunray,
no, our channels will get taken down. You don't.
You don't want the quartering going to his.
Your guys are already on a list of
guys on YouTube.
You're gonna get flagged soon.
High on cocaine. Cum stains all over his t-shirt. Get those fucking guys off YouTube. God, what a slob. Sunray051. Did we not play or not like Bond First Light? Bond First Light. I've seen footage of it. I think it looks terrible. I'm not interested in playing it.
I don't play as many new games as I used to. A lot of games I end up playing are a couple of years old now because I'm not paying $70 for a brand new game. I'm just not doing it.
I heard it was good, not great, and so it's just it's on the I might play that sometime, but I'm not paying full price for something that is good, not great.
Yeah. Unless it's something that I already have an investment in as a franchise and I can get it on like a 15% pre-buy discount. That's the only way I'm buying something early.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm not going to be playing or buying GTA 6. The more I think about GTA 5, the more I realize what a mediocre game it is. I will not be touching GTA 6 for $100 fucking. They can fuck right off.
Is that what it's at now?
I don't know. I know that's what people look. It's probably gonna have like expansion packages, season passes, live service for all that. If you buy the whole package, $100. I don't know. I don't care. I'm not fucking. I'm done with all that shit.
I mean, they've been milking the shit out of 5 for so long. They re-released it on what now? 3 different generations.
Yeah, I don't like what Rockstar's been doing. They the microtransactions and everything, and how GTA 5 pushed that. They don't get anywhere near as much pushback as they should. And in any case, I just the other day I bought Total War 3 Kingdoms on sale for $10 on Steam. So I'll be playing that for the next
the Steam summer sale going on now through like the end. I always waste money. I'm like, I'll play this in 2 years, but it's $5. I'll get it now.
I'm about to buy the first Dead Space for that very like it's $4.
The original Dead Space, the first one, like
the remake one, I think.
That's for sure. Do that, yeah.
You might play it when you're 71 years old, and you're like, oh yeah, I remember I bought that 30 years ago.
There's so many games in my backlog, it's not even fun.
All right, so Clayface, this is the next James Gunn. The Dead Cinematic Universe movie. He made it. Apparently, the budget is $40 million. I don't believe that. I think the budget's going to go up. There's no way they can get this released on $40 million. It'll probably be closer to $60-70 million by the time it comes out. That's just the number that they're throwing around at the minute. Clayface, what do you reckon, lads? I have no idea what the fuck's going to happen with this.
I don't think it's. I think it's going to bomb because it's gross looking. First of all, so it's going to scare people off. And like you said, with Gunn, he's obsessed with sort of B or C characters and wanting to make these, tell the untold story of these shorter characters, which is admirable. You just can't lead a universe that way. So I don't think anybody's going to want to rush out and see this. The trailer doesn't really say much. It's good that it doesn't give away the whole movie, but it also doesn't say anything other than sad guy in a hospital bed who's having flashbacks of shitty spots in his life. Like, I don't think the Penguin did well enough to carry this. It's gonna bomb.
No.
Yeah, so Greg has me convinced. Do you know what it is? even though it wouldn't need that much money to succeed, like let's say it needs to get the 150 million. I think that's fair. How the fuck is this going to get? What reason do people have? It's the dead cinematic universe.
Yeah.
And it really is dead. I know that that's a sort of a fun wee slag off that Nerdrotic came up with, but he's right. It is dead now. Supergirl has confirmed that this cinematic universe is a goner. It's just a matter of time now. It's a matter of, well, how long can James Gunn cling on by his fingernails? It's dead. No one is invested in it. No one is interested. James Gunn has failed utterly to get any sort of cultural impact or hype for his dead cinematic universe. And it's now, what is it, four failures out of 4? So you've had some shitty animated show. I can't even remember what it was called. You had the Peacemaker, which
that was Creature Commandos.
Creature Commando, Peacemaker, both failed. Peacemaker got cancelled after 2 seasons and was apparently terrible, and like 5 people watched it. Then Superman was, a glorified flop, and Supergirl is one of the biggest box office bombs in history. So it's done. It's like 4 failures out of 4. This is probably going to be 5. I see this flopping. I don't see this making 150 million. DarkHour, any thoughts on Clayface?
Well, first thing I noticed when you pull up the poster is, so it's playing off the body horror, all that stuff, and they're releasing it in October. And there's this weird thing where horror movies actually do worse in October than if you release it any time of the year. It's some weird phenomena, and so that's going to hurt it. First of all, it's a character that I'm not even sure I would call it a B tier character. It's probably a C tier character of Batman's, in his rogues gallery. So it doesn't have any cash unless they can promise, they really lean into Batman being in the marketing, like assuming he's in a scene or 2 or something. It's not going to resonate with anybody. Maybe some people who vaguely recall the character from the animated series, might be like, oh yeah, I remember that character. But even in the comics, he's not particularly utilized, partially because it's a weird power to have to deal with. But I just, how much did you say it's being made for?
They claim 40 million. That's a lie. It'll go up to 60 or 70 million.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at how little people gave a shit about Supergirl, which at least has, it's on a different character, but at least has the iconic symbol that people can recognize as that's definitely a comic thing. This is not even going to have that. I wouldn't be surprised if majority of people have no idea that this has anything to do with Batman or the DCU.
There is one thing that I know, Greg, you're going to be excited about. I think this movie is going to deal with a character dealing with, say it with me, Greg.
Is it trauma?
It's trauma.
What? Oh, now I'm on board. I love when characters are dealing with trauma.
Finally tackling trauma.
Oh man, I think we need to be talking about mental health. It's really taboo to talk about mental health. Nobody talks about it. And so I'm really glad to see a movie tackling someone dealing with trauma and processing it. This is what we need.
Yep. It's very original, very fresh.
I mean, so the only thing I would say is that if the poster was just for a non-connected movie to this, if it was an original horror movie, the poster might catch some eyes. That's the one thing. It's kind of it's a little dark, physical, but the actual poster I think could be and might interest some people. That's about it.
Yeah. Godzilla minus. Fuck me, I'm already bored talking about it. Godzilla -0. VFX. I've never seen that on a poster before. It says at the top right hand corner, it says VFX, written and directed by Takashi Yamazaki. The fact that they have to specify VFX because the first one looked so good, they specifically want to highlight that point that it's the same guy doing the VFX.
I think this will do well because it's riding on the success of the first one, which I actually just watched today. I knew we were going to talk about this, and it's been on my list for a while, and I thought, fuck it, I need something to do this afternoon. It's either that or watch Supergirl, and I chose Godzilla. And when I tell you a freaking kaiju monster movie made me cry, holy shit, that was a good movie.
I think this
fucking phenomenal movie.
That might be
the first time you saw it.
Yes, and it was excellent.
It's maybe the best movie made this decade. It's one of the very few movies that gets inside the mind of the kamikaze pilot because it's so difficult for a Westerner to understand the mental state of a kamikaze pilot. You just don't understand it. But this movie kind of it gets you in there, and it gets you really thinking, okay, I can kind of see it from their perspective and why they were willing to do this.
Yeah.
And like a Godzilla movie, which is doing that, which is actually trying to examine the mentality of the kamikaze and making that a part of its thematic core. It's incredible. Yeah. It's such an amazing movie.
Yeah, it was incredible. That more movies need to be approaching things from they approach the plot, where the plot would have just been how do we defeat Godzilla, and the real plot of this movie is how does this man overcome his guilt and feelings of failure and his cowardice and all of that. And then Godzilla is really the backdrop, which is a crazy thing to say, that Godzilla is a backdrop in a movie, but it holy hell, that was a fan. And I watched it. I did it correct anime style. I watched it in Japanese with subtitles. I got people get mad at me in the anime video about, don't you watch it with dubs? That's terrible. So I didn't. I watched it real.
Sometimes the dub can be an improvement. Like I can't stand Goku's Japanese voice. I cannot stand it. But a lot of times they regionalize the stuff, so you don't get the real authentic feel of what they were going for originally. Yeah. But yeah, I just hope that this doesn't do damage to the first movie. That's my big thing. Is I'm just, now that there's more. The first one was definitely a passion project.
Yeah.
And this one, I'm just hoping that there's not a lot of meddling. I hope that there's not a lot of that, and he's allowed to just do it the same way for the most part. Obviously, a bigger budget, and and like you were saying, that Godzilla was a backdrop. So this one is clearly going to be more involved, right?
Yeah.
Because you could have practically removed Godzilla from the first movie and still had a great movie.
Yeah.
Just dealing with the fallout of World War II. Just having Godzilla there was the icing on the cake. This one's clearly going to be more Godzilla oriented, which is going to change the dynamic a little bit. That being said, I also hope that they don't lean into bringing. I've actually avoided almost everything about this movie specifically because I don't want to know anything. I want to go into it as fresh as I possibly can. I do know that they tease him going over to America. I'm not 100% certain if that was more of just a marketing thing or if it actually is him physically ending up in America. But I think it's gonna do really, really big numbers, especially relative to whatever its budget is going to end up being.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to ride the success of the first one, the word of mouth and all that. And people that didn't watch the first one are going to want to get in on this one. And, whoa, what did I miss? And what was I remember this thing that everybody was talking about was just making a mockery of Hollywood a few years ago. And, oh, my God, it was shoestring budget. And it was incredible and all that. So, yeah, I think it's going to get a lot of word of mouth, a lot of interest. It's going to do great.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot to talk about. There's just been a teaser trailer with a few sort of VFX shots, which look really good. But
don't even bring it up. I had a video get completely blocked for that, which is very strange.
No, yeah, because I had the same thing.
It'll do very well. I mean, I think this thing will be a huge hit. All right, so this one, there is a trailer for this, and it looks terrible. Did anybody see the Hunger Games Sunrise on the Reaping trailer?
No, I didn't even realize they were making this.
I didn't even know this was coming out. I also didn't see the Songbirds and whatever one.
Yeah, I actually saw that one. That was Songbirds and Snakes, something like that. That is actually that movie is the only Rachel Zegler movie that made money. So she starred in, I think, 5 movies before her career bombed, and the only one that made any money, and it didn't make much. In fact, it almost flopped. I'm
looking it up right now.
Yeah, it was the Hunger Games Songbirds and Snakes or whatever it's called, which was a pretty crap movie, to be honest. Not terrible, just meh.
It was supposedly 100 million. Like we said, I never trust the budgets, but let's go with that being the true number. And it made just shy of 350 million. So it made money. It's just nothing to really write home about, though.
Yeah. So it did okay. It did decent. This one is I think this is as sure a flop as we're going to talk about. So if I've got the budget right, let me just give me a sec. First of all, terrible name.
I think the stories they're basically the author tried to make up prequels after. And when you really, if you stop and think about the Hunger Games as a story, like it just doesn't make any sense. They're fun books and they were fun movies and you can have a good time with them. If you start to think about the world building, it falls apart. It's really just a stupid ass world. And it was part of the whole dystopian YA book craze from 20 years ago. And that's all, nothing wrong with it. It's all fine and well, but then from what I'm told, they tried to write this prequel of Songbirds and Snakes and just trying to explain how the world got into the stupid place that it was with the capital and the colonies and all this dumb shit and how it really, none of that would work. But so yeah, trying to continue to explain how we got to where we were in the first books is just, why would you try to explain the unexplainable?
Because money?
Yeah. Well,
because money.
I was going to say, for what it's worth, with all of, I've only ever seen one of the Hunger Games movies, and I watched it on a plane because I was like, I want to see what this is even about. I was the very first one. The only thing that is even remotely interesting about it to me is the fact that it's kind of mysterious as to exactly the circumstances that how they ended up where they're at. So to start, go ahead.
Well, one thing I will say about certainly the first Hunger Game movie, it is one of the most 2010s movies you'll ever watch. It's got horrendous shaky cam. It has the proto girl boss. So by the late 2010s, the girl boss had become fully fleshed out, fucking invincible girl boss going around beating men up for the crime of being men. What was that actress's name? She's past tense now because she's not a thing anymore. What was her name? Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah. She was she was the original. Don't forget, you can't forget her name. She's the original action hero.
So she was the first woman in a movie.
She was the first movie star ever. That's what it was.
She was the first woman. So basically,
first human, first biological individual, first biological creature to ever live.
She basically she's a proto girl boss. Very 2010s. You got the shaky cam, you've got the teenage angst. You've got the kind of cringe humor and the cringy costume and design and hair and makeup for the Capitol. It's so 2010s, that movie. It's fucking terrible. But a bit of fun as well. It does have a bit of like fun camp because of the sheer level of cheese in there.
When I was watching it, I could at least understand why people who enjoyed it did. I could see it. I'm like, okay, this clearly is not for me. I don't like this. Like I think I only watched like 2/3 of the movie, and I was like, I don't care what happens at the end of this. But I can see why people that are into that were into it.
There was, at least they make all three of those movies. They didn't even do that with the Divergent books. I think they made one Divergent book.
4 movies because they did that thing where they split the final.
Oh, that's right. That's right. But yeah, there was a whole spate of books of just dystopian YA shit where in the future everybody's split into various camps, and then one special girl who is special for no reason, like
the girl who is the key to everything.
Yeah. That was a very 2010 trope as well.
Frost and some shit. I don't remember what that trilogy.
Yeah, that was the Divergent books. They did 2 movies, and there was 4 books or something like that. And they just stopped in the middle.
They didn't even finish. They were like, "Yeah, this is not going anywhere. This fucking sucks."
Yeah, but I reckon
the world is too. Like,
I'm gonna look that up now because I don't know shit about
this as well. I'll tell you what I saw in the trailer. So this is a remake of the first Hunger Games movie. It's basically The Force Awakens. It's it's just that it's a soft remake of the original. Like from the trailer that I saw, you get all the people together. You have the girl who is the key to everything. They go to the Capitol, and some oddball is put in charge of them for their public image to run their PR. And the oddball has to give them all the advice that they don't know. Oh, here in the Capitol, you have to look a certain way. That sort of thing. It's just a remake of the original. There's nothing new here. There's nothing fresh. And this is a dead franchise. The absolute last fucking gas in the tank was exhausted with that Rachel Zegler movie, which was shite. And I think this bombs easily.
What's the budget?
150 million.
Oh, easily. Yeah. Because I'm going to say that. So the other one made 350, and I actually looked. They got worse on their budget to. So the first Hunger Games was the smallest budget and the second largest gross of all of them, and then I would say that this one probably does at least 100 million less than the previous one, if not even 150 million. So yeah, they're not going to make money.
Yeah.
And the book series is just not popular anymore, and they're moving on. Now, next year, when the damn it, what was the dragon one? The Iron Flame, no. Fourth Wing. When the Fourth Wing show or movie or whatever the hell comes out next year, that's going to do fucking numbers. Oh, God, you're going to be blown away by how successful that shit is. And it's going to make you lose faith in humanity. But that's going to be the next big YA book show series. It's going to be that one.
It's crazy how they're still, all of these studios are still trying to capture the Harry Potter effect to this day. And the
Game of Thrones effect.
Well, yeah, Game of Thrones. Well, I was more saying like the young adult one. It's the Harry Potter effect of if we just grab any young adult book series, it'll just print money. And Hunger Games was the second. It was the closest one to that. It just didn't have the sustainability because it only worked for the initial first 4, and then anything they tried to do afterwards didn't work.
All right. I will be back in a little bit, guys. A couple of minutes. So you two just work away. Greg, I know you're a big fan of this.
I'm super.
You're going to have to carry this whole segment then, because
have you not seen the trailer for this?
No, explain it to me like a 4-year-old.
So this girl, the trailer quite literally, and I am not joking, the trailer literally opens up with her walking into a school, banging the door open, walking down a hallway, and saying, "Ever since I can remember, I was not like the other kids."
I did see this actually. Now, I didn't realize that this was it because this poster it's not resonating with me. I did see that trailer.
Yeah. All right. So then it's basically derivative Disney. She goes down the hole. She sees the Cogsworth and Lumiere knockoffs, and then goes to Magic World, and magical things happen, and there's magic because she's different. She's not like the other girls. And then realizes that the magic was inside her all along, and that she actually wasn't weird and different. That she was special and whatever. And yes, it's gay Owl House. It's non-gay Owl House knockoff. It's terrible. But here's the thing. So here's what's fucked up is this is going to make a lot of money. So and this is usually an insult, but it's the truth. It's not for me. It's not for you. It's not for any dad or male person anywhere, because I watched this a couple weeks back with my wife, and she was like, "Oh, that looks like it could be fun." Like, she was like, "Oh, that looks like it might be a fun movie." And I thought, did we watch the same trailer? That looked stupid as hell. And then a few days later, my oldest 18-year-old daughter, I was talking about how I did a stream. I was watching trailers, and she said, "Oh, did you watch the Hex one? Because that looks like it might actually be a fun Disney movie for once." And I thought, did we watch the same trailer? What the hell are you talking about? So there is an audience for this. I think we don't fucking get it. And like I said, normally I hate when people say that, but this just really is. This is like when Barbie was popular, and I thought, why was anybody caring about Barbie the movie? I do think that people are going to see this, and it's safe, and it looks just fun enough, and audiences are going to go see it.
I'm going to talk a little bit.
I'm okay with that though, and it doesn't need to be for me, obviously, but I'm just trying to look up what the non-Toy Story recent Pixar movies made before I make a decision on what this is going to be.
I think it's going to be a terrible movie, and it's going to be forgettable. It's going to be forgettable in every way. But I do think that the normie audience is going to see that trailer, and they're going to think, "Oh, that looks good enough," or "It looks kind of fun," or "kind of cute," or like those are the terms of the ways people are going to talk about it, and it's going to be enough to get them into the theater, and it will make money.
So before I present this segment, I pulled these images off a YouTube channel called Sam Does Art. If you're interested in illustration and animation, he has a great channel, and he made a really good video about how all these Disney faces are just the same now, and how their animation has been cratered. So let's take a look at this image. Same faces. And look at how similar it is. It's the nervous smile. They're all doing the nervous smile. Even people on the YouTube comments for the Hexed trailer, they would do the timestamp and say, "Yep, she's making that face already." Like, they're wise to Disney's bullshit. They know all their little animation tricks because they're so pathetic with animation now. And look at it. You've got sort of vaguely ethnic characters, so they're all kind of brown-ish, right? They've all got big circular eyes. Their eyes are basically light brown. Even the fucking eye shade is exactly the same. And they've all got that quirky, nervous smile. Like, it's disgustingly generic and samey. Like just a complete refusal to do anything different or take risks. This is Disney in a nutshell. Disney don't do art. They don't do innovation. They fucking detest anything that even vaguely looks like innovation. They like formula. If you bring them an original idea or original animation sort of style, they will just formalize it. They'll tear every shred of soul out of it and turn it into this. Disney are the worst studio in the world. And it goes on. Look at this. Look at these faces. It's the same face 6 times. And he even did the proportions. If you look at this, the face proportions, nose proportion, eyes and lips, and the distance between the facial features are all almost exactly, even the eyebrows. Look at the proportions of the eyebrows. Everything is exactly the same almost.
Well, they just have assets that they reuse. That's the thing. It's just reused assets in their existing system. They don't have, so that way they don't have to animate it by hand or anything. It's just because even with digital, even with the CGI digital, the initial stuff needs to be drawn, and then it gets converted. Just drawn on a digital pad instead, and then so obviously they're just reusing assets to save money. That's what they're doing.
Yeah. It's got to be. Well, and you're right that they don't draw it. There's no art anymore. So I was at a flea market a few weeks ago and I saw a box set for the Ren and Stimpy show. I don't know if you guys ever saw Ren and Stimpy back in the 90s. Mm-hmm. There was I read an interview a long time ago and I got to dig this up because the director or one of the lead artists said that on that show, they had a couple of rules. One, they never used the same emotion twice, or they tried not to use the same emotion twice. And they also never used a singular emotion face. They would always use hyphenated emotions. This was the rule. If a person was angry, they couldn't be angry. They had to be angry hyphen smug. They had to be angry hyphen nervous. It had to be a combination. And they tried to get away from just basic emotions like angry, sad, whatever, happy, right? They had to be elated. They had to be ecstatic. They had to be worried insane, or something. Like it had to be something that was slightly different other than just happy or whatever. And they had to be hyphenated, and they tried not to reuse them. So, and then you go back and you look at some of these older hand-drawn things and the facial expressions are, I mean, sometimes when you freeze them, they're wild. They're crazy looking expressions in freeze frame, but once you play an animation out, you get a much, much better product that way instead of this, which is they're very base emotions, they're very basic emotions, and they're very bland looking all the time. And so you have this very smooth, very airbrushed, soft, boring emotion looks all the time. And then that makes your movie boring.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you compare that to, I mean, Greg was talking about previous animation. This is what Disney animation used to look like. Like, look at the artistry, the variety involved there, and how unique each character looks. Like, they look iconic in their own ways. Many of these characters, they're instantly recognizable. And more than that, when you look at these images, like they're bursting with personality, and you can feel the soul from them. Like, you can feel that human connection. When you look at this, you just see generic slop that was made on a computer.
Like, yeah, because like I was saying before, so someone has to draw the initial look, and then they just 3D model it and all this stuff, and then they can do whatever they want with it. I've actually used. I was at a long time ago. I was at like an experience for Pixar, and it showed you how it allowed you to do the, how you manipulate it on the screen, and it really is just, the hard part for them is rendering it all, but doing it is actually very simple. And this isn't new, by the way, for Disney to be reusing assets. They even used it back when they hand drew stuff. If you go back, you could find it. There's videos all over the internet of them. There's like the dance for Baloo from Jungle Book is identical to the dance with Little John from Robin Hood. It's just reshaded and redone. So it's nothing new that they're reusing assets. They're just doing it at a higher clip because the technology has caught up to what they wanted to do.
Yeah, I mean, the issue is I don't even know if it's necessarily lack of talent. According to the guy whose video I took these images from, he says he thinks Disney have some of the best animators in the world. He says the problem is that at an executive level, these animators are told to make everything look shit and generic. They want it all looking identical so that it looks like a Disney movie, as a kind of form of branding. Disney don't want their movies to look good; they want them to look Disney, so that people show up.
That makes sense.
And that's a problem. Although I think he's giving Disney too much credit. I don't think that guy quite understands, because he does animation and illustration. I think he's kind of normie in the sense that he just assumes Disney have the best in the world. I don't think he would necessarily realize the extensive damage that Disney did to their own animation departments, specifically in Pixar and Disney Animation during the Me Too purges and what followed after that, the drive for female representation, whereby and all the animators are men. Like, it's something that men are far more attracted to than women. So they got rid of a lot of their talent. And the result is that now they just do not have the talent they need to make their productions look like as good as they used to. Or as good as, for example, K-pop Demon Hunters, which
somebody mentioned Mira in the chat a little while ago, and I was going to mention it, but you brought it up there.
Oh yeah, they think that they're ripping off Mira's hairstyle with this Hexed character.
I just saw something about her. I didn't. Well,
I don't know about that, but I mean, look, I'm not a big animation head. I don't know about all the techniques and all the rest of it, and I don't claim to, but I do know that this looks infinitely better than whatever shite Disney are excreting right now. I mean, it's fresh, it's original, it feels like a human drew it. It doesn't feel like a rendering of, a ChatGPT instruction, which is...
Yeah, they could have easily, especially for the Saja boys, they could have easily made them all kind of look the same facially because they're demons anyway. They could have just been like, that's a generic demon face, but they didn't. All of them look individual. None of their noses are the same. None of their eyes are exactly the same, whether it be the shape or the color.
The other brilliant thing is they're based on Korean phenotypes. Mm-hmm. I'm very familiar with Korean phenotypes because I've lived here for over a decade, and I taught, many students, and my last 6 years of teaching were teaching students roughly around this age, actually, sort of 18 to 22-year-olds, and they look like this. Like, these are the phenotypes. See that horrible fucking haircut? Like this guy on the left here with his hair coming down over his eyes. I literally taught a guy that looked like that. He didn't have purple hair; he had black hair, but he was so concerned with his hair looking right and looking fashionable that he had it coming down over his eyes. And the result was that he was constantly having to literally brush his hair out of his face. And because he was constantly touching his face, his skin was covered in greasy acne. Yeah, quick bit of advice.
Well, at least you could block it. You didn't need to see it.
That was the thing. In America, boys were doing that for a while, but it would swoop across their face, and then there was the same problem. They didn't want to touch their hair to make it greasy or touch their faces. So what you would see were boys doing the Farrah Fawcett flip all the time. There was a phase dudes were doing this to get the hair.
When I was in high school, it was huge, and you would just see it the whole time, all day.
I swear, anytime I see a man do that, I want to throttle the life out of him. Anyway, so that's Hex. That's Greg thinks it's going to hit.
I do. I think it's going to make money. It's safe. It looks just fun enough. It's not offensive. I do think it's going to make a lot of money.
Well, I mean, Elio and Hoppers didn't do particularly well in the greater scheme of things.
I have to disagree, Greg. I think there's no heat for this. It looks terrible, and the reaction has been awful. It just looks like a low-grade Harry Potter ripoff. So no, I say this flops.
The only two recent movies that did well for them in terms of actually covering budget and all that were Inside Out 2 and Toy Story 5, and they already had built-in audience
as well. It has a lot of things going against it, and it has pretty much nothing going for it. I mean, it's identifiably Disney, hence the generic animation. They want to show everyone this is a Disney movie. But I mean, look at Elio or Elio.
Just
pure bomb. This thing, I think this flops hard.
Yeah, honestly, going all the way back, 2020, you got to obviously you can't really take that but you go back to even Coco. That was the last original one that came out. And other than that, though, I'm just going to skip 2020 because that you can't really use that as a basis. But Turning Red did terrible. Lightyear did terrible. Elemental did barely covered its budget. Then Inside Out 2 kills. Elio Hopper's terrible, and then Toy Story 5, we know where that went. So I don't think this. I mean, the only thing that they have going for them is that if they appeal to enough kids, they basically double up their ticket sales, because a kid needs a parent usually to take them to a movie, unless they live like right across the street from the movie theater or something. So that's the only saving grace they have, is that they might double up, but it's doubling up. They need to captivate at least some sort of audience, and I'm not sure it because there's already a lot of these magical girls like things. I'm not sure that it's going to do that.
So originally this was a boy. That's another fun little tidbit behind the scenes, is that when this was released or revealed the first time at D23 in 2004, I think, or 2024, sorry.
I was going to say 2004, man. They've been really prepping for this one if it's 2004.
Yeah. The main character's name is Billy, because originally Billy was a boy, and then didn't get along with his mother. The mother's always been the same, and she's always been the cringy type A, whatever, and they didn't get along, and then Billy finds out he's magic, and then a year later the director was demoted to co-director. They brought on somebody new, the gal that worked on Moana 2, I think, and Billy is now a girl. So there's been a little bit of behind the scenes type changes. So maybe it was too much like Harry Potter, and they thought, oh, we'll get the girls with this one, and yeah, it is very generic.
I've heard a theory that the original character Billy, the boy, he was supposed to be trans, and that this was going to be Disney's big trans moment, and that the whole I'm a wizard, there's something different about me, that's an allegory for how Billy is trans, and then that there would be the big reveal at the end of the movie, similar to how in Elio, the whole alien abduction thing is an allegory for being abducted by homosexual men and raped. It was similar with this. They were going to do it with trans. So, but then Disney got cold feet and backed out once the whole trans ideology collapsed, and turned it in. That's just a theory. I'm not saying that's the case, but I've seen that theory floated around online. I would be interested to see where that goes once people do a bit more investigating into the matter.
Yeah, to see if it's like Elio, because there was that big expose where, I mean, they straight up admitted, and they found out, Elio was super gay. Like it was a queer coming out story. It was very much about being him being gay and running away from Earth to go hang out with his giant purple penis friend. And it was, and then the director and the people working on it were angry that Disney sanded down all of the queer personality from Elio, and they were pissed about it. So it would not shock me at all if Billy being a boy and then a girl, and that was their big, that wouldn't surprise me in the least.
Do you know what I think? I think the original climax of this movie was intended to be the magical moment where Billy is granted a wish, or he's a magical wizard comes along, or more likely a witch, a magical good witch comes along and turns Billy from a boy into a girl, and it's magical, and then he goes back to his mother, and his mother gives him a big hug. I think that's what they were going for at first. I would guess. June. So we're getting way to the end of the year here. This is December, and we're gonna do kind of two at once here. June and Avengers Doomsday are going head to head. They're releasing on the same weekend.
Trying to Barbenheimer it a little bit.
Yeah, Doomsday is the thing that they're going for. It's not going to have the same effect.
No, it's not. You can't grasp. You can't.
Well, the reason why it's not going to have the same effect is because they're both trying to appeal to the same crowd, whereas the other one was like, hey, you go to this movie and your wife can go to this one instead, or your girlfriend or whoever doesn't want to go to your silly, your silly exploding movie. Like, you could just let her go watch Plastic Dolls.
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously, there's no word on the budget for either of these yet, but they're big, and I think Avengers Doomsday is going to be maybe the most expensive movie ever made.
Yeah.
So you could see a budget for Doomsday over $500 million, easy.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
Without even going near the marketing, which is again giant budget. Like the thing with Doomsday is it could make $1 billion and still flop.
Yeah. It's impossible. I think it's impossible for that thing to break even. It just can't. It can't do it.
Yeah, did you see the plot leak for Doomsday? Either of you?
I saw headlines about it, but I haven't had a chance to watch any videos talking about the plot leak. I
don't
premise?
trust anything that comes out about this movie because it doesn't even seem like they had a script they were working from. So how anything could be leaked and be accurate is beyond me.
Yeah. They're probably still filming scenes this month.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go with the plot leak because I have no idea if it's legit or not. Apparently it is. It was confirmed by some trustworthy sources. But you know what? Like at this stage, Disney could keep, filming extra scenes, chop and change in the editing, and the plot could change. So there's no point in going over the plot leak. From what I read, it sounded terrible. It's basically just it's the Avengers and the X-Men and a bunch of other heroes bouncing around the multiverse, going from multiverse planet to planet to planet to planet to get different characters together. And then Doomsday is revealed to be the bad guy. Dun, dun, dun. And he wants to destroy the universe. Something like that.
You mean Dr. Doom?
Yeah,
Dr. Doom.
Yeah,
So
I mean, there's no build up.
We don't know. I'm not going to go with the plot leak. I'll take a wait and see approach.
But Greg, you're just about to hit it. The reason why Infinity War worked is because it was built up for so long. We have half of not even a full scene, just a post-credit, half of a post-credit scene showing the back of Dr. Doom's head, and a sign at the United Nations when he didn't show up to the scene. That's the whole setup for this movie. I mean, maybe they do something in Spider-Man to help, but that's also Sony notoriously is kind of wishy-washy on how much they want to help. Like they'll share Spider-Man, but they're a little wishy-washy on how much they want to actually build up the MCU. So,
yeah. This is. I don't think that. Not only is this not going to make money, I mean, there's just no way it can, but I also think it's going to bomb really, really, really hard because I think the audience is caught on. The bringing back of Steve Rogers, we're bringing Captain America's back. Oh, X-Men, we finally got the X-Men. You guys been asking for the X-Men for 15 fucking years. We got X-Men in finally. Huh? You want to see that? RDJ is back. Come on, guys. Like, I think the audience is onto it and they just don't give a shit anymore. There's nothing that's happened in the MCU in the last 3 years that would get anybody excited about this epic finale conclusion. It's naked pandering, naked key jangling to try to get people back in the theaters. I don't see this thing making, maybe it'll make 600 or 700 million just because it's like curiosity or because the marketing will be so massive and people will just need to see what this big event is. But I don't see it getting above 700 million.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with Greg here. I think this thing is going to be a massive bomb. So here's what I see happening. It does okay to well on the opening weekend. People come out of the movie saying that fucking stinks.
Yeah.
It gets horrendous word of mouth and it's long, right? And for a movie that's long, this is what people forget. You can't pack as many showings in at a theater. So it needs to have legs the longer it is. That's why Hollywood doesn't like very long movies. So it needs kind of needs good word of mouth. And with this, it's not going to get that. And it flops for me. I think it has a big second weekend drop. And it's basically the end, the complete final nail in the coffin of the superhero genre. I think after Doomsday, superhero movies are gone. They're dead. The Hollywood will release a few that they still have, basically in the middle of the sludge pipe, but this is it for them. That's my prediction for Doomsday. It bombs and it takes the superhero genre with it. Not just Doomsday, obviously Supergirl plays a role as well. Not just because it bombed, it was always going to bomb, but just the sheer scale of that bomb was beyond what anybody thought. So I think Supergirl and Doomsday together, those two gigantic bombs, spell the complete end of the superhero genre, and we're not going to be getting much, if anything, from it again for years.
It doesn't help that they've already announced, Secret Wars as well. So people already know this is part one, which is probably gonna hurt it because part one's when it's a part one historically, it doesn't do as well.
Right. Well, and I think that the issue is that I believe the leak because from what I know about the Secret Wars plotline, we go to Battle Planet or whatever. So I believe some of the leak of we gather everybody up, we got to go all around the multiverse, and we got to find everybody. We meet Doctor Doom, and then Doctor Doom sends everybody to Battle World or some Battle Royale shit, and it's going to be 1,000 cameos. Yeah. The story is not going to make a damn bit of sense. There will be no emotional resonance whatsoever. And I also I think that they'll be reshooting, they'll be editing and re-editing things up to November for this movie. And it's going to be the safest, most committee-made, most inoffensive, bland 3 hours of nonsense and shitty-looking CG, horrific CGI is going to be in this. It's going to be awful. It's going to be so fucking boring. It's just going to be pure. It's going to make Ant-Man and the Wasp look like an Oscar-winning incredible film. God, I almost can't wait to see how fucking terrible it's going to be.
Yeah, this will be atrocious. I do also think that.
I was going to say one last thing about it. I was going to say the whole thing also reeks of so the original setup was to have Kang the Conqueror, right? Then we all know what happens with the all that stuff. We don't got to go into that. Not only was it failing on screen, they clearly had to remove. They ended up removing him sort of prematurely, but not really all that stuff. So this all just kind of feels like they're just grabbing things and just throwing it, and like we need to fix the problem that we created accidentally, and it even in just the actual way they're filming it feels like they're trying to catch up to something they physically cannot do. They cannot catch up to the problem because the problem is they had a plan that was supposed to take them for another whoever knows however many years, and they had to fast track to this, and it's just going to feel incomplete. That's what it's going to be long as hell, and it's going to feel incomplete at the same time somehow.
We should have gotten the Tank Guard sequel instead.
I haven't seen that movie in so long.
I do think June will make money though. So the last one, I think it was 150 million. Hold on, let me get the exact fucking numbers here. The last one, 190 million budget, 715 million box office. This will be higher. This will be closer to 250 million, but I see this making money. I think because the reputation is so good. The second one, look, I know the June stands weren't too happy about June Part 2. I thought it was great. Yes, there were some problems with the Zendaya character, with Chani. I admit that, but most of the movie was great. Like, for example, Paul's mother, played by Rebecca Ferguson, who, by the way, is hotter than Zendaya. It's not even close. She's
Rebecca Ferguson gets hotter the older she gets. It's fucking
crazy. Good looking. She's just stunning. Anyway, by the way, watch Silo if you haven't seen Silo. She's fucking brilliant now. It's a great show. So June Part 2 was great, and I think it's that plus the fact that Villeneuve has become a brand name director. I think Villeneuve is very close to what Nolan was a decade ago, like a proper brand name director that people will show up for. So yeah, I think this is going to do well, and I think it's a good trailer. I've seen the trailers. Trailers look good.
It is. It's going to make money. I'm interested to see how they actually pull the movie off. I haven't read. What's the fourth book? We talked about this a few months ago.
Not Children of Dune, right?
I think it is Children of Dune.
Is it? Okay. I really only know.
I read Dune Heretic, I think that's what it was. I didn't read Children of Dune. I've heard they're going to have to loop both those in because Dune Heretic or God Emperor Dune. That's right. One of the I got them all mixed up. But the next book in the series is slow as shit.
God Emperor.
It's just a lot of conversations. It's a lot of people talking in rooms. The whole thing with hate. There's not a lot of action, which people are going to expect. So they're going to have to find a way to.
Well, no, they're going to combine June Messiah and Children of June. So he's combining the next two books, which he needs to do. There might be some June fanatics out there who are like, no, he should. June Messiah would be amazing if it was adapted properly. I guarantee you that is not true. June Messiah is unfilmable. Look, it's okay.
It was a cool book.
It's a cool book. It's not a great book. It's a massive step down from June. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't cope and pretend it's a great book. It isn't. It's a decent book. God Emperor is a great book. Messiah is not. Children of June is better than Messiah, but Messiah is arguably the weakest book in the series. it isn't filmable. Don't cope on me. All right.
Well, Messiah feels like, and I've heard that this is not correct. Apparently, Herbert had a plan all along, but Messiah feels like the Alan Moore. No, you guys weren't supposed to like him. Paul's actually really shitty. I got to bring him down to convince you fucking moron readers of, you shouldn't like this guy. Like, that's what it feels like in that third book. It's still a fun book, but it feels like that's the author trying to correct for misconceptions or something and bring his character down. But the world building is still fun. The other characters are still fun, but no, there's no filming that book. It's not a movie. You can't make a movie out of that.
Yeah, it also doesn't. I also feel that Frank Herbert was probably writing it in a hurry. It doesn't have the polish of the original Dune book. It's kind of sloppily written. It's still good because Frank Herbert was such a brilliant writer, but it's just not. You can tell. Like, if I was his editor, I would have told him, like, Frank, if you need the money fast, okay, we'll publish it. But this is beneath you, man. Like, this is beneath your standards. You know you can do better than this. Just from the sheer quality of writing, this isn't good enough, and you know it.
That usually happens with sequels, follow-ups, second seasons, whatever. There's a lot more time and passion put into the initial work, and then the success of it, you're like, okay, well, now I have to do it faster and get it out faster. And so that actually happens pretty much universally across all of media.
Yeah. I mean, we could obviously get into the lore. Zacho, the first book, had hints of Paul's brutality. Yes, I mean, part of the reason Frank Herbert wrote Messiah was to make it very clear that Paul is, the bad guy. He's a bad character. He's a man who's been completely corrupted by power. Yes, that's very important, but we'll be here all day if we get into the political philosophy of Frank Herbert. So those are our predictions. Last chance if anybody wants to change a prediction. I think it's only fair. Since we've had this discussion, we've looked at the chat. Any last minute changes, guys?
On Odyssey, I think I predicted 450. Being is that the opening weekend is selling out, and there's IMAX money coming out. I forgot the IMAX money. I'm gonna jump that up to 550. I still don't think it's gonna be like a gangbusters, holy shit, smash of the season, but I'll give it 550 or 600. Like, I think it might get close to breaking even or something.
Yeah, I agree with Greg, but I basically maintain that it's gonna do okay and it'll drop off second weekend. Big opening weekend though, I guess, but it'll get close. It'll get close to breaking even, I think. It
already has, like, I guess it technically already has a big opening weekend. We kind of already.
Yeah. It is going to get close. It's going to be the closest thing to mid in this video, but the rest, I think I'm pretty dead on with my predictions for all these. I think, and we're not. Doomsday is probably the riskiest one. I think we're saying it's going to bomb. Don't even know if that's risky, to be honest. There's some people who are saying, oh, it's no, it's going to be. It's going to be huge. They're going to do it. They're going to pull it out of the bag. And it's like, sorry, man, I don't see it. I don't see a single indication of that.
No. The audience is already gone. You can't get them back. You can't rebuild. You can't rebuild the end game excitement. You can't rebuild the Infinity War excitement. Just those things took cultivation, and that's gone. They salted the earth. They ruined the whole thing. They fucking ate the seed corn. Describe it however the fuck you want. It's gone. There is no building excitement.
That was the most Illinois thing I've ever heard. They ate the corn. They ate the damn corn, damn it.
They ate the fucking seed corn. They slaughtered next year's milk.
They turned it into ethanol and burned it. That's what they did. They just set it on fire.
Made the whole region smell like delicious bread, but it's gone now.
So I just need to thank Grasshopper X22, who became a YouTube member. Thank you very much, Grasshopper. And that is it for our stream. So we hope you enjoyed it, guys. Please let us know your predictions in the comments. What do you think is going to hit and what's going to flop and bomb and all the rest of it? All right. Thank you for watching the Greg Owen and Despot show. And thanks, DarkHour, for coming on.
Well, thank you. I always love coming on this show. I love talking.